I don't run to get ready for bikini season. I run so that in the year 2030, when I'm locked out of my electric car for having a bad social credit score, I can get outside the 15-minute city limits and escape the United Nations robocops that are after me for having a steak after I've reached my CO2 limit.
Whoa! Welcome back, everybody. It's been a bit. It's been a minute. It's been a bit of a strange week this week. A little bit different schedule. I didn't make videos all week, except for the Marty Up North collaboration that I do once a week, every Thursday morning. So I'm glad you tuned in for that. I also did a special live stream with Northern Perspective over on their channel, and that was star-studded cast. Go check that out. I left a link for that in the description of the Marty video because it was like back-to-back for us. We were recording at Wednesday evening and then went right into that, and then that went on for the evening, and wow, it was a great time. So many great people were there. So yeah, go check that one out as well after this live stream. Let's bring the chat in. Come on over, chat. I was almost late for the show this time because I was hanging out in my own chat. What do you know? Before the stream chat on the channel, why not go hang out in there? I had a bit extra time because I didn't make videos today, and that's normally my everyday, my Friday experience is the busiest day of the week. It's usually make a video in the morning, go work an 8-hour shift, come home, eat dinner, make another video, post it, and then get right into the live stream. So that's usually a crazy day. Crazy days on Fridays. I got to relax a little bit. Relax just a little bit, and I've enjoyed it, but I can't wait to get back to work. Really, at the end of the day, this is what I do. It's become my calling. It's my purpose. I need to do this. I love doing this YouTube channel, and I love keeping in contact with everybody and telling everybody about the news, the things that are happening around Canada, around the world, and my opinions on things. I mean, you can take it or leave it however you like, but this is what's going on. Nathan O'Rourke, my man. Holy cow, it's great to see you in the chat. Him and I are great friends from a long time ago. Holy cow. We've been great friends for a long time. Holy cow, going way back to the days of just getting my driver's license. That is a long time, my friends. That's a long time. Anyway, welcome everybody. Tonight's going to be a good one, another gooder, because I'm excited. We're going to be talking about some things, and then we're going to be getting into our guest tonight. Of course. Let's pop this up on the screen here so everybody can see this. It's going to be, and with the chat out of the way, John Wibber from News Updates for Real. He's joining tonight. Been looking forward to this one for a while. It got put off a couple of weeks ago, and it was just scheduling mishap, and then it's happening tonight. So stick around for that. It's gonna be happening in the second hour of the live stream. I'm really excited about this. I got to meet him a little bit earlier tonight. We had a quick chat, got things squared away, and then we're gonna get into it in about an hour's time. You can always check him out on YouTube as well on this platform. Of course, I'm always going to give props to the biggest platform that I'm on, and that's get on over there, because he's chronically undersubbed for how big the following he's got, but he does his long form podcasts on the YouTube channel, so go check that out. And of course, I'll put the link right here in the chat for everybody, so you can go subscribe to the channel. And if you're an Instagram user, become one of the 840,000 others that follow him over there. So that's going to be a pretty exciting show tonight. And yeah, I'm again looking forward to it. But hey, let's bring the chat back in, because this is about giving back to the community. That's what I like doing on these Friday night live streams. It's really about having a chat with all of you guys, hanging out, getting to hear what you guys are thinking, doing at the moment, all of that stuff. And I love having these live streams for just that reason. Evening to everybody, by the way. I'm glad to see that. If this is your first time here, if you're just joining in the live stream for the first time, or you're just new to the channel, every weekday, apart from this past week, because I've been taking a vacation, spending time with family, all that lovely stuff. I normally do videos once in the morning, once in the afternoon, every weekday, and then a live stream on Friday. And here you are for this right now. And then we obviously do some other interesting things. I have Marty up north. We all know Marty. If you don't know Marty, go check out his channel as well on YouTube. Go follow him on Twitter. But he's here every Thursday morning where we do a nice long chat over some of the things that have been happening in Canada, because I can only pay attention to so many things. And sometimes I'll be paying attention to this or that, and Marty's got something else that he wants to talk about, bring to the table. And that's another great thing that happens on the channel. So check those videos out. If you see one that pops up in the morning and you're like, what's an hour-long video doing on Clyde Do Something channel? That's why. That's what those videos are all about. And that's the thing. Howdy from Texas, Clyde. Michael, howdy. Holy cow, tuning in all the way from the great state of Texas. Ginormous state of everything's big in Texas, right? Isn't that what they always say? I've always wanted to visit. I've never been. Northern Perspective finale was emotional. It definitely got emotional in there. That was something else. Tickle the ivories for us. Okay, maybe we can get into some of that if we've got time. Thank you, Clyde, from Central Alberta. People from all over the place coming in this evening. I love seeing it. My lake rocks. Oh, okay. Penny D with a $5 super chat. We're glad you enjoying your job because we love it. That's awesome. I'm glad, because I really think I found my groove with what's going on this channel. As you know, I've been doing YouTube for a long time, but I did like automotive content. I did like a comedy automotive kind of spin-off thing, and it was somewhat successful. And then I've done some other things. I just really like making content. But getting into it's funny, like I just kept falling back into talking about news and politics. Like after I'd record something or do something, and I'd be talking with people that I just met, and then I'd always get into news and politics and stuff. So I just found my calling. Enough avoiding it. I'm gonna embrace it. And I have been for the last 2 years, and it's been great. And I thank you all for making this all possible. So Penny D, thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Robert McFallon with the $10 super chat. Happy New Year from my favorite journo mechanic, FJT. Thank you so much, Robert McFallon. Really appreciate that. That's amazing. Journo mechanic. I've never heard that one. That's a new one. I'm just the dyslexic mechanic that reads the news on the internet, and I don't know. Somehow that works. But we can all just have a laugh and enjoy that for what that is. Daniel Casey with the $2 super chat. Love your show, man. Thank you so much, Daniel. I love your name so much that I named my son that, and that's my dad's name too. Let's go, Clyde, to 1 million subscribers. Well, we're a little ways away. So, hey, we could get there. We could definitely get there. That's no problem. It's just a matter of time, I think, really, at the end of the day. I'm expecting things to pick up a little bit, too, in the new year, because a lot of people have, news and politics on their mind. And because I do a daily show, it's just, it kind of gravitates that way. I've got some good ideas for improvements to the show moving forward in the new year, but only time will tell with that stuff. So time will tell, and if everything works financial wise and all these other things, I'm really looking forward to bringing a lot of new stuff for you guys in the new year, and for a whole new other audience of people that are going to be getting into news and politics, because this is just the way it works when the election cycle kind of comes in. More and more people tend to, okay, I'm going to start paying attention to this stuff. Who's talking about it, and who are other people paying attention to? This is what the algorithm looks for, and this is why it's so important to hit that like button. So I see that there's 739 people in the chat right now and 320 likes. It really helps the channel out so much. It's free to do, and it's just a little click, 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 clickety click. get in there, hit that like button, and what it does is it tells the algorithm, hey, you like this kind of stuff. You like it so much you hit that like button, which only like on average like 10% of the people ever do. So somebody liked this so much that they went over there, they hit that like button. You know what we're going to do? We're going to recommend it to other people who kind of like stuff that's very similar out on the interwebs. Hey, maybe they happen to be in Canada. Maybe they don't happen to be in Canada. Maybe they care about world politics, and maybe they care about the push for liberty in our lifetime. Once again, it would be really nice to see moving forward. So, hey, hit that like button, help out the channel, and we'll get this out there to more people so that they can see it. Here, at least we get the facts, truth, and appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Blaine Larry with the $2 super chat. You deserve more, but the government took my money. I get it. I get it. No, that's fair. That's very fair, Blaine. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the $2. That's a lot. It's a lot for somebody to go, hey, you know what? I'm gonna actually punch in my numbers here, and I'm gonna contribute to the channel. So Blaine, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Canadian Freedom, right? With a question mark, with a $5 super chat. Canada under this government has gotten so bad over the last few years. Your awesome show has inspired me to start a channel to get things off my chest. Isn't that what this really is about? I mean, I'm hoping to actually affect political change, and that's all part of like the process of getting the information out there and getting people talking to each other about this stuff. But on the other side of it, it is therapeutic for me. It really is. Instead of getting bent out of shape about stuff, I get on the internet and I talk about it and I speak about it for 10 minutes at it. Well, I do a lot of research, but then I'll do a 10-minute video at a time and then talk for 2 hours in these live streams. It really does help. It's a therapeutic thing. So I'm glad I'm inspiring other people to do that kind of stuff. So Canadian Freedom, right? I'm looking forward to seeing what you put out there. I really am. Ravusades. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know why I always forget how it was pronounced, and the last time I think I figured it out is what it is. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you for what you do, Clyde. Your coverage is better than almost all official news sources. Well, I'm glad you think so. I really am. There's such a great community of people coming out in this new media landscape. It's funny because they call it the mainstream media. We're becoming the mainstream. This is becoming the mainstream. This is where people come to get information. And I try to not just, grain of salt. Take everything that I say with a grain of salt. I'm giving you my opinions on what's happening in the news. I would really like to see, other people giving their opinions. Other people look, and this is why I always give the links to the articles and all the sources that I have. I put them in the description of all the videos because I want people to look at it for themselves. Don't just take my word for it. I mean, I'm giving you the quick, easy rundown, but get into it. Look up the link, read the articles for yourself. Maybe I'm wrong. Perhaps I am. And there has been times where I was wrong, and I'll come out and I'll admit that. Caper Grant, 692 with a $2 super chat. Government took my money too, lol. Well, thanks for the $2. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. That really is. Holy cow. Holy cow. All right. Okay, we're still moving forward on these. Alice Avonlea? Avonlea? I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Alice. Just enough for a beer for you. Hopefully I will indulge. Thank you so very much. And wet that old whistle. Yeah, get that going. Yum. It is the holiday season, and I've been sharing a few wobbly pops with some lovely people out in the ether out there in my own life here, and then all the friends that I made online in this whole time. In all honesty, Clyde is more commentary on the news than the news itself. Very important, though. Yeah, it's more commentary on the news. That's what I do. I'm talking about my opinions of things. Absolutely. That's where I'm at. Clyde, is you criticize the school board will the FBI come to your house calling you a terrorist? I don't know. Maybe the FBI will. The FBI doesn't really have jurisdiction over here. But nonetheless, I am an American citizen. Maybe some people don't know that about me. I'm dual citizen, U.S., Canadian. I've never lived in America. Well, that's not true entirely. When I was 1, I lived in Ohio for like a year, and then I moved back to Canada. But I didn't do that on my own at 1, right? I've lived more in Japan than I've ever lived in the United States of America. But that doesn't mean that I'm not American. That's a thing. Louise A. King. Or is that Lewis? I always mix that one up. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for your hard work, Clyde. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm just doing what I can. I'm absolutely just doing what I can. Barnaby from Northern Perspective, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships to the channel. That's amazing. That's really awesome of you. Thank you so much. And it was the first time I got to have a chat with you last Wednesday. You guys got to tune in to Northern Perspectives end of year stream. It's not live. It was live on Wednesday, but definitely go catch the restream of that, because that was really fun. It was really fun to be a part of, and thank you guys all so much for having me. It was really great. Clyde for PM. I don't want to be a Prime Minister of Canada. Forget that. No thanks. I'd rather hold their feet to the fire than be one of them. Robert McFallon with a $10 super chat. I would love to see any party leader do a YouTube live stream. Yeah. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. I mean, in all fairness, it's a huge risk. It absolutely is a huge risk on their part to come out and put themselves in that situation. It could be kind of a vulnerable situation for them at any rate. So I just don't see it happening. And this is why, Pierre, I'd be really surprised if he ever wanted to come on my show. I'm not shy to be critical of the Conservatives. But that being said, yeah, maybe. I mean, I'll put the invite out there. I think I have put the invite out there before. Never got a reply, but hey, it is what it is. Let's moving on. The Maple Leaf Forever, the $5 super chat. Hey, Clyde, just curious of your opinion on maintaining the monarchy in Canada. Get rid of it. I mean, there's nothing. Okay, so there was a whole swath of people that were, they had an allegiance to the Queen. Queen Elizabeth, she, for some people have a thing. I don't have an affiliation to any monarchs or anything like that. But a lot of people respected and loved the Queen. Now it's Charles. Nobody respects Charles. Nobody really respects that sort of authority. The monarch's over. It's done. It's it's really just a symbolic thing at this point. Nobody really cares about the monarch. That's where I'm at with it. I think I'm done. I'm done with the symbology of it. I really am. I'm done with that. Nobody wants Charles on their coins. Nobody wants Charles on their bills. Nobody cares about him at all. So I think it's time to move on. That was probably the end of an era, of the monarch era in the Western world, and we should just see it that way. I mean, people might disagree with me, but I'm pretty much that's the point that I'm at. Yes, and King Charles is a big proponent of the World Economic Forum. Not a fan of that. I don't like his ideas. He's got some really he's got some friends that like to hang out with underage people, and it's not not savory, not very savory at all. Well, they say by the king's orders or something like that in QP. Yeah. Formalities, right? Formalities. Lawyers or like King's Counsel, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's a thing. I think there's a lot of things that we can move on from. Clyde, I really, really enjoy your shows. Mary, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you being here. I really do. Thank you so much. Freemasons? What about the Freemasons? That's just a boys' club. I've looked into it, and that's all I've really ever got from it. I know people that are Freemasons. I'm not a Freemason, but I know people in the what is it, in the Masonry, and they do all kinds of nice things. I mean, the Shriners are always putting up hospitals and doing good things. So I can't say a lot of bad stuff about them. I know there's conspiracy theories about them running the world and all that stuff, but I haven't really seen any real proof for that. So that's the thing. Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. The monarchy is basically WEF now. Also, sorry if interpreted a bunch. Sorry if I interrupted a bunch last week. No, it's fine. That's fine. It's all good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. King Charles is the man behind the curtain of the WEF. I don't know if he's the man behind the curtain. He has symbolic power, and those groups, he wants to hold on to power. I mean, he really doesn't have any, and those guys all want to have power, and they kind of do have power, whether it's with billionaires clubs or whatever. And he just wants to still be a part of it. He knows that he's not really that's not really a thing. That's it. If he ever shows up, I'm out. Yeah, okay. He was here, but I always mess this one up. Rav USAIDs, Rav USAIDs with a $10 super chat. We need to completely rework our government, be it republic or whatever. But the truckers' protest and the Emergencies Act enactment shows how weak our Constitution is. I can't agree more. I think it would be really difficult right now, though, to have a constitutional convention with so many socialists at the helm. I'm afraid to have a constitutional convention. We need to really win the culture and then have that. That would be an amazing goal for this whole movement. The freedom movement is to take the reins of power, then have a constitutional convention. Because if we had it today, it would be probably worse with Trudeau, right? Trudeau would get in there, and just like his daddy, when they went and did the first one, wow, yeah, he went in there and basically nullified the whole thing with the notwithstanding clause. Great work from a guy who is a big fan of Mao. Yeah, right. That's who we're talking about. That's really who we're talking about. And speaking of talking about him, why don't we get into that? This is funny because this is I think it's an older clip, but it was a kid asking Trudeau about his dear old daddy, saying, "Hey, well, let's just hear the question ourselves. Here we go."
Dad give everyone in Western Canada the middle finger.
If you didn't hear what the kid said, why did your dad give everyone in Western Canada the middle finger?
Okay. First question, what's my favorite spot in Canada? Salmon, BC. My father had an approach to politics that not everyone agreed with. And no matter how nice and good and smart any politician is, there's always going to be people who disagree with some of the decisions. Because really, in politics, you do have to make big decisions, and whenever you make big decisions, there's going to be people who agree with it and people who don't disagree with it.
And it's really great as long as you do it by emergency declaration, right? Emergencies, that's how you do it. Ravisades with the $2 super chat, and friends with Castro. Yes, he was. Some say a little closer than just friends. I don't know. We were all looking at Trudeau's face and seeing some resemblances, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, ruling by decree. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of people that are not keen on that. You're going to get a lot of people that are not keen on that. And yes, Trudeau's daddy did historically, he gave the middle finger, literally gave the middle finger to Western Canada, not figuratively, if that might be what you were thinking. But Trudeau is not doing so hot these days, and the media is not afraid to ask him some poignant questions. Let's have a listen here.
ourselves in all the right ways.
Do you think that part of the reason why some of those bigger countries or our allies aren't listening is our lack of investment in foreign policy and defense?
Canada has continued to step up as a member of NATO, as an international partner, whether with our Indo-Pacific.
Well, I'm just gonna interrupt this one for a super chat. Wow, Lou giving $50. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Really grateful for this community in 2023. Let's build it much stronger in 2024. 1,000 times. I agree. Let's do it. 1,000 times. This would be 1 million. Let's make this community 1 million strong in the next year. Do you think we could do it? Do you think we could pull it off? I think we could do it. And I think you guys have it in you. This is really what it's all about. It's about changing the culture. It's about changing people's minds and letting them see discussing these things and opening the conversation to, I don't even think they're new ideas. These are some old ideas, the ideas of liberty, of self-determination, self-governance. This is something that we should all be getting excited about. And this is in a day and an age when you have douchebags like us that want to rule over you. They don't believe in self-determination. They don't believe in self-governance. They believe in ruling by any means necessary, usually the case. You could tell when they don't get their way, like when a bunch of truckers come to their front door. They don't come out and they don't talk. They just declare emergencies and attack them. Thank you so much, Lou, for the $50 super chat. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Let's get back into this clip.
Specific strategy, or things like investing in vaccine facilities in South Africa, or being part of significant investments across Eastern Europe in nuclear plants and things like that. Canada is
the nuclear plants in Eastern Europe. They can have them. We can't have them. Okay, we're not allowed to have those things. All right.
Very engaged international partner, and countries around the world continue to look to us as one of those countries that's always going to stand up and defend the rules.
That's not what I hear from our allies. They point to us having 3 days worth of ammunition if a war to break out, to not having tanks that function, and those that are overseas in Latvia, and the government has not made efforts to replace them. They point to $1 billion coming in defense cuts. They point to you allegedly, privately saying that we'll never hit 2% of GDP.
Okay, well, those examples are all specifically on defense. What I'm talking about is the large international frame.
Those are specifically on defense. Yeah, a big hole in our defense is the fact that we only have 3 days worth of weapons. What are you going to do with that? What can you do with that? Robert McFallon with the $2 super chat. These scumbags rule by mandates. Absolutely. This is what they do. They bring in mandates, and then as soon as you use the courts to show that they're not legal, they just pull them at the last minute, and then they have their judges that they have in their back pocket declare that it's moot. It's a moot case. It is no longer happening. You're no longer being assaulted, so therefore it's moot. That literally happened this year. That happened this past year. But let's move on. Trudeau's getting hammered everywhere that he goes, even from the CBC. What's her name? Rosemary Barton. Yeah, she's not even having it. Before we get into that, the Russian Canuck with the $2 super chat. Make apples great again. What's up, brother? Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. The Russian Canuck. Make apples great again. That's awesome. Rare one. AB, I'm guessing Alberta, with the $5 super chat. The inherent violence of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings. The inherent virtue of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries. Wow, that's profound, actually. The equal sharing of blessings, the equal sharing of miseries in socialism. Justin Trudeau equals traitor. I couldn't agree more with that statement. Thank you so much, Rare One Alberta, for the super chat. Humble Tracker, welcome back, and thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Just passing by, have a great stream. Well, thank you for jumping in. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Ravi Sades with the $5 super chat and announce policy changes, not to Canadians, but rather to COP et al. In the WEF. Yeah, COP28. Yeah, the COP28 policies that, what's his nuts, the Guibo. Why do I forget Guibo's name? Guibo. Stevie Guibo. He was announcing policy changes at a foreign conference, not even within Canada. But like I said, Justin Trudeau has lost so much popularity that even the CBC is pushing back on him.
But the food inflation is still punishing for a lot of Canadians. They're feeling squeezed. They have to make really hard choices. Do I get Christmas presents? Do I buy this many groceries? Like, those are real things that are happening to people. It does seem, though, as though Pierre Poilievre understood that and tapped into that long before you did.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, why is that? Why did you not see
I mean,
that?
it's not that he understood that.
I love that he said that. Yeah, well, absolutely. He totally got into it. Yeah, right.
Is that? Why did you not see
I mean,
that?
it's not that he understood that. It's that he's done a really effective job of reflecting that back and amplifying it to people. We've been hearing that across the country for years now.
But why did you not?
We've been ignoring it for years now. He's just done a really good job of taking that news and actually speaking to Canadians about it. Holy cow. Wonder why his poll numbers have gone up so far. Robert McFallon with a $5 super chat. If Rosie the Hutt is turning on him, he is in trouble. That's right. QMJ with a $2.79 super chat. These douchebags rule by order and counsel. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And like I said, as soon as you sue them over it, they just pull it just before the lawsuit comes in. This is Keith Wilson was on the show explaining exactly this, how they do this, and how it actually worked for them. It really is unfortunate, and this is what we need to push back against, even when Pierre Poilievre gets into office, because he's getting into office. I mean, just don't give me a break if you think he isn't. He's getting into office, and then it's our job to keep pushing the culture in this direction, towards liberty, towards justice for crimes committed against Canadians.
Not reflect it back and amplify it back. Why did that room why was that room left to him?
It wasn't necessarily left to him, but when you're trying to solve an extremely complex situation that requires a number of different solutions.
When you're trying to do this, when you're trying to solve a problem, the best thing to do is ignore the people that are suffering from the problem that you caused. I mean, what else do you even say to this? It's crazy to me. And then, of course, he was invited onto this podcast, and I'm just like, I'm blown away. Turns out, I guess this guy's a good friend of Trudeau, because he's not a success, that's for sure. He's here on YouTube. Only 22,000 souls even watched this thing. The Prime Minister of Canada, you know, his name garners views, like, no matter where you go. But whatever. This Terry DeMonte, he's got a website here. I followed his social medias just to see, like, oh, okay, where's his big following? Doesn't turn out to have one. Back in 1978, he worked for CBC, though. Wow. And he's been a radio jock for a bunch of years, up until looks like he didn't retain his job after May 28th, 2021. Ouch. It doesn't have anything on there for anything past that. But you look at his socials, if it'll ever load. He's got 7,000 followers over here, which, I mean, that's sizable, but not like Prime Minister of the country sizable. He's got a little bit of a Twitter following and 518 subscribers on YouTube. Why? How did this even happen? Anyway, he's been doing, apparently it's an annual thing now, sitting down with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and talking about what's happening in this country. And I'm just gonna close some of these, because I don't want this on my browser anymore. Get out of here, you. This is the last time I'm talking about this interview, but I wanted to talk about this thing that he says here.
Do you see it? Are you ever on social media? Because I see it my wife and I see it, and I'll say to Jess, Jesus Christ, look at this. Look at this ugliness. Do you see it? And how do you cope with that?
Maybe that's what you got. I try not to swear or do that stuff. I know there's a lot of Christians that don't like hearing the Lord's name taken in vain. I mean, I even try to steer clear of all that stuff. In his first sentence here, he does that. Just say something like cheeseless crust, man. It gets the same effect. You might actually make people laugh over it. Come on. Anyway, let's get into what he actually says. Right after the super chat from Penny D for $5 says, very concerned that young people will accept the UBI. I'm going to get into that moving after this story here. I want to get into that because it's crazy to me. And it's socialism. It's at its peak. We're gonna get into that.
First of all, yeah, I see it. I mean, you can't
not.
Even though I don't spend much time at all on social media,
right?
I very much know it's out there.
Yeah,
it's out there.
You're a little busy.
No, but every now and then, we'll see it. But inevitably, my reflection is not, ooh, that's about me, or that's this. It's about them. It's like my question is always, well, what is going on in this person's life that they are that angry, that they are.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh. Oh, people are so angry on social media. It's crazy. Why are people so angry? I would love to be introspective and look at myself and see what our government's done over the past few years, because they weren't that angry only 8 years ago. But I would do that. But the first thing I think of is, what's wrong with these people? Why are they so damn angry? What's wrong in your life that's made you angry? What are you doing? Yeah, cheeseless crust. Cheeseless crust, man. Why would you get on and say something like this? Is crazy to me. Oh, one WW guy with a $10 super chat. Thank you so very much. Has Pierre P said whether or not he will repeal all the libs gun grab bills, or do you think he will? And will you be pressuring PP to dump all these bills if he doesn't do so right away? Yes, he has promised to do so. It's in his, it's the promises that he's made so far. He hasn't made a campaign promise trajectory or a platform yet, but he has many times said he's going to scrap Bill C-21. He's going to scrap all of this stuff that they've done. And yes, if he doesn't do it, yes, I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. You'll never see me with pom-poms waving them around. You vote the way you want to vote. I know that Pierre Poilievre is going to get in the next election. I would like to see more people get out and actually vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I know that at the end of the day, when Pierre does get elected, I'm gonna be holding him to all of his promises. And not only that, I'm gonna be speaking to everybody again, not as a pom-pom waiver for one party or the other. That's not my concern here. My concern is to push further and further. We've been for 40, 60 years. They've been pushing further and further towards socialism, towards communism. I want to be instrumental in pushing the other way, and with a bulldozer pushing consistently the other way. And I'm not an affiliate to any party. I don't have any allegiances in that. My allegiances are with self-governance and self-determination and liberty, and I'll be pushing for that all the way. Rare 1AB with a $10 super chat. I refuse to accept science from people that can't tell the difference between a man and a woman. Oh, how did we get here? How basic of a question. Really? Where have you gone? Please come back to us. Reality. Yeah, come back to us, reality. Absolutely. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This is where we're at. Oh, yeah. Can't trust science from these lunatics. Absolutely. Penny D with another $5 super chat. Clyde, after watching your clip, I have to say he must have been a teacher of comedy. Yeah, a tragic comedy. For sure. This is our country's a big tragic comedy. That's really where we're at. And is there a consensus on half the stuff that they're talking about? I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. Here's a great clip that I found today. And since it's a perfect time to share this, this is, I don't even know who this is, but he's being asked, obviously, by some environmental patient about everything going underwater, and this is his response to it.
What are you guys gonna do when our ocean level rises?
So which the question was, so what you guys gonna do when your ocean levels rises? I guess it's like some Melbourne accent or something. But that's the question. What are you guys gonna do when the ocean levels rises?
Now you're full of shit. Sit down. Shut up and sit down. If the water on the planet is going to rise up 10 feet, the southern part of the United States is gone. England is gone. Most of Europe is gone. I'm jealous of the Vice President, Gore. I am jealous he came up with a scam before I did. Because the financial institutions, the banks of this world know it's not going to happen. Otherwise, you couldn't get a goddamn loan in London. You know those 30, 40-year mortgages? The world will be over by then. It's the greatest fraud that's been perpetrated on mankind this century.
Yeah. So don't look at what people say. Look at what people do. And this is exactly what he's getting at in this clip. I don't know who this guy is. He says a lot of swears all in a really short period of time. But sorry. Yeah, it is a scam. And this is how you can tell. You just measure what people do. What are people doing? Why would world leaders like Obama, Trudeau, John Kerry, Al Gore, the Schwabs, all of these people be buying oceanfront property? Why would they buy anything in anywhere near an ocean? Seriously, most of the UK underwater, if it's true. Most of Florida, giant portions of California, giant parts of Canada, underwater. You kidding me? Yeah, bye Hawaii. All of this stuff. But why are they buying it there? Why would they be buying it if they think it's going to be underwater? It's because they don't believe it's going to be underwater. It's absolutely the truth. Don't measure what people's motives are by what they say. Ever. Measure their motives and what they're going to do by what they do. It's exactly where you go with this. And it's so utterly ridiculous that this is that people fall for it so much. They fall for it and they keep falling for it over and over and over again. And until we wise up to this, they're just going to keep pulling it on us. Absolutely. Robert McFallon with another $10 super chat. I've consulted a number of experts. They all agree our government is completely incompetent. Well, let's thank goodness for that. How about that? And I can't emphasize this enough. I'm so glad that even the biggest government is just so inept and can't pull things off. Because if they were able to pull half the stuff off that they wanted to, we would already be in this predicament. So we're able to fight it off because they're so inept. So thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, they are completely incompetent. Don Wickenden with the $5 super chat. I've lived through 40 plus promises of Earth's demise. Not one have happened yet. No, they don't. And they'll just keep bringing that if people keep falling for it. And there's this allure, there's this, like, especially for young people, there's this allure to it's just like allure that people want to be in the generation where all the stuff goes down. You know, the cataclysm happens in their generation. It's very self-important, but it happens. It's true, and a lot of people feel that all of this stuff is going to happen within their lifetime. I just want, in my lifetime, to make things better for my kids. That's really my goal, And I want them to be able to live in a place where they can have the liberties that people once had before. Rare One Alberta with $5 super chat. When capitalists can't sell us something, they work to make it better. When socialists can't sell us something, they make it mandatory. Clyde and Marty. Is that a quote from us? I don't know. But that it's true. It's absolutely true. They make it mandatory. They absolutely do. That's what they do. Because they can't do any better. They can't do any better. Actually, this brings up a professor. Since we're on a socialist rant, I'm going to bring this up because this crossed my path today on Instagram as I was scrolling through stuff over there. And it's this lefty professor. And what he says, I couldn't disagree with more, but I want to highlight this because this is the type of stuff that people get wrapped up in. Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. Hey, did you see the guy from the Federal Reserve say CBDCs are bad? He said he can see why dictatorship would use it or would do it. No, I didn't see that. No, I'd like to see that clip. Yeah, if you have that clip, send it to me. Send it to me on Discord or on Twitter or something like that. But thanks to the super chat. Let me know if you have that clip. Anyway, I'm gonna get into this because this one irks me.
If you're going to be paid by an employer $20 an hour, the following statement must be true. During that hour, your labor produces more for the employer that he sells at the end of the day than $20 worth.
That's true. That's true. If you don't produce more than $20 worth of value in that hour, there's no reason for you to be employed or for make that much money, right?
Because that's why he's in the... If paying you 20, you went to work and you did an output that gave another 20 for him to sell, then he's got nothing out of this. He's made 20 by selling what your labor helped to produce, but he's got to give it to you. And even though he likes you, he's not going to do that.
Now, this sounds just like a normal critique of just like, yeah, this is how it works. This is how an economy works. And this is how wage structure works. I don't see anything wrong with that. That is just an important lesson of life that people need to know.
Has to be in it, here we go, something for him. You have to produce, this is ineluctable, you have to produce more in every hour than you get paid. Yep. Otherwise, this system doesn't work. For those of you, and
notice he keeps saying this system. There's a little foreshadowing here.
Tell you this because partly you need to hear it, and partly I admit I get a kick out of telling you. Those of you who think that in a capitalist system,
here it is,
you're never going to work for anybody who doesn't pay you what you're worth, you don't understand the system you're in. That is never going to happen because that's how this system works. When you go home at the end of a workday and you feel vaguely ripped off, it's because you are. And the psychologist or others who helps you get over that feeling isn't doing you any favor.
So you're getting ripped off, he says. Let me tell you another ripoff. Going to college, learning this crap, and paying them $100+ grand and having a student loan so that this guy can sit there and lay out this dribble to a bunch of soft, impressionable minds. This is the ripoff that we're actually seeing in real time right here, because you need to understand something here, Mr. Professor, who went to college, probably never, probably just went to college indefinitely because he didn't want to get out and get a real job because he thought he was getting ripped off, and then just stayed in until he became a professor and a total socialist. Yuji Tai, who's an effective capitalist. I know you're doing well. With a $5 super chat. Looks like the communist professor that was on the Lex Friedman podcast. It was 3 hours of this BS. It might have been the same guy, actually. So 3 hours of this BS. Imagine what people are paying for. And this stuff is like prerequisites to go and get a degree in business. You know, you want to get your degree in business and you get this commie coming in telling you about how, well, you're the bad guy. I mean, all these people who are studying are going to be the bad guy, the guy you think is a bad guy in the end. Now, tell me this, riddle me this, socialists. When you go out and you get a job and you're getting $20 an hour and you think for a second that you should produce less value than $20 in that hour, how is it that the guy who bought all the capital for the business, doesn't matter what you do, burger flipping, changing tires, sewing, hemming people's pants, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever job you're doing, the guy that started that business, he took a giant risk by doing this. He took out a giant risk. He rents the place. Does the landlord just go, you don't gotta pay me this month because your employees didn't produce as much value as you pay them per hour? You know, all of this stuff. Let me just interrupt this for another super chat. Rare 1AB with another $10 super chat. I work at a deer dealership. I have customers, aka farmers, tell me and show me how they pay more in carbon taxes than fuel. Our costs increase and roll out into them and turn everyone. In turn, everyone acts the tax. Absolutely. Everybody's paying this. This is inflationary in its inception. This is how it works. Thank you so much, Rare 1AB, for the $10 super chat. Rainmaker with a $10 super chat saying, same grift they've been pushing for 50 years. Been through so many climate emergencies, I forgot them. Yeah. And that's the problem, is we forget. And then the next generation gets all wrapped up in it. The end of the world's coming. It's coming. But this is what they're selling. At the end of the day, they don't really think that the world's ending. They just want to bring about socialism, because that's, and James Dellingpool put it best. Called them watermelons because they're green on the outside and they're commie red on the inside. When you crack them open, you find out what they're actually about. This professor here, just insanity to think that he's not. All you got to do, just take it for a second. What happened to my chat? What happened to my chat? Come on back. There we go. Take this just for a second. Think about other people's perspective on things. Put yourself into somebody else's shoes. Like, this isn't that hard. And this is what I think about the socialist thing, because it's really interesting that they'll tug on your heartstrings about, we're just trying to make everything good for everybody. Well, are you, or are you just thinking about yourself and then you're trying to make it about everybody? Are you making it about everybody, but you're really just thinking for yourself? And I'm going to expound on this in a second. Scott Gallant with the $5 super chat. They blame us for problems they made up, then tax us to fix it. It's true. It's true. And it's always a temporary tax or something like that, right? Carbon tax, GST. We're just going to balance the budget, and then yeah, they balanced the budget. We still got a GST. And now the balance, there's no balance to that budget. Rare One Alberta with the $2 super chat. Two things drive the world: fear and consumption. I think you're right on that one. But let's get into this. So, where was I? I always get sidetracked on these things. Yeah. Okay. So people who claim to be socialists because they just care. They just care more for everybody else. I'm just caring for everybody. I just care for all of you. You know? No, you don't. You're thinking about yourself. You're absolutely thinking about yourself. How can you better off the betterment of yourself, right? Because if you cared about everybody else, you would care about the people who forewent for the foregoing of consumption in the immediate, so that they could save up all the money they could muster and put together, and then buy some capital, buy, I don't know, a little building, maybe put a kitchen in it, and maybe buy some groceries and then fry it up and serve it to other people. And yeah, they'll make a profit, But their profit is never going to be, what, like in a day, you're going to pay back the building? You're going to pay back the kitchen that you had built? You're going to pay back all the construction workers that you had come over and do it? No, see, these are the risks. These are the risks that people take to make business. And then you get this midwit, these midwits like this guy who come in and they say, well, it's not fair. You know, if I produce $20 worth of value, I should get $20 worth of value. Okay. Is that the deal for the guy who built the business? Is he getting a refund, a rebate for all of the stuff that he built right away? No. And you didn't put anything into it. If you want to go out and build a business, build a business. I think the best way to teach somebody how ludicrous socialism is. My chat keeps disappearing. What are you doing, chat? Come on back. The best way to help people realize the downside of socialism is let them run a business. Help them run a business. Why do you think? I don't know. Maybe this is just coming to mind, but this might tie into why they want to make it so difficult for the average person to be able to start up a business. Perhaps. I think if everybody was able to just take some hobby that you do and turn it into a side business in no time. That was a horrible snap. That's a little better. Is that better? In no time, they would throw those ideas out the window. Wait, what are you saying? What are you saying? My employees should make exactly the worth, and I don't get to keep any, profit off of that, even though I did all the investing? What? No, that's not how it works. What, he feels like he's being ripped off, even though I provided all this stuff for him? Are you kidding me? It's so funny. I'm a mechanic, right? I'm a mechanic. I work as a technician. There's a darn good reason that I don't own my own shop. I understand what it is to own a shop, how much that takes out of your life and out of your time and out of your family time, the time that I do this. I wouldn't be able to do this if I owned my own shop. No way, no how. But I'm an employee for somebody else. I go in, I fix cars. I go in, my arrangement is I'm here from this hour to this hour. You pay me. We have a negotiated, payment scheme. And then it works out that way. Now, I'm not taking a huge risk on that. I'm not taking a huge risk. The guy who owns the joint, he's taking the risk. So when we do really well, he's going to get rewarded handsomely. But inversely, if we don't do that great, I still get my paycheck. Do you get it? Do you get what I'm saying here? And this is the reality of the situation. This is the reality that people really need to get a grasp on. But then they say, oh, but the government should give us the money because the government's got all the money. They don't have any money. This is what people just really need to get in their heads. Governments don't have money, especially when they're in debt. Because then they don't even have money after they've taxed you to pay the debt that they haven't fully paid off yet. It's crazy. It's crazy that people don't know this stuff. And I don't think it's in the socialists' interest to teach this in academia. You get what I'm saying? Because there wouldn't be socialists. There wouldn't be a lot of socialists anymore if the people learn these basic rules of economics. Steve's Hyde with a $2 super chat. Where did all the weed taxes go? Up in smoke, my man. They're up in smoke. They were spent before they even had them. That's where we're at. And this is why we get crazy ideas. Crazy ideas like this nonsense. Let's get this up here. Before we get into this, Don Wickenden with a $5 super chat. Oh, look, he's throwing away money. He's got your wallet. Right? Well, here's the government and their ideas of just throwing away money. It's crazy.
Introduce a framework to develop a guaranteed livable basic income. We are struggling throughout this country with homelessness, food insecurity, poverty, health, mental health issues, and this is one way that we could start to look at these issues. It's not the only way, but it's certainly a key way.
And I think we've gathered a great deal of data to show the positive consequences of offering people the opportunity.
Half of Canadians are pessimistic about their personal finances. A quarter of low-income families cannot pay for monthly expenses.
Introduce.
Never once did you hear them say, Canadians are looking for opportunity to make things for themselves. Canadians are looking for a way to earn a better way of life through hard work. No, you're not hearing this. It's not what these people's prerogatives are. They don't look at it in the right way. If you want to have stuff, you got to work for it. You got to do something for it. Now, it's really terrible when the government's in your way going, oh, you wanted to do that? Yeah, well, we made it one of those things that you're not allowed to do that. Or if you want to do that, you're going to have to get in line. And, you know, we got some friends of ours. My cousin, he owns a business, and we put a bunch of regulations in the market and make it really hard for you to get in there and get a business going in that one. So maybe just give that one up. Maybe you don't want to get into that kind of business. You know, that's not a good one. Oh, you wanted to do that? Oh, you know what? Probably not a good idea, because we had some lobbyists come in the other week, and they said, you know what would be great if you could just knock a couple of rungs out of that ladder and make sure people can't work hard and make a living. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce something where we just give you a bunch of money, right? At the end of every month, we're just gonna give you a bunch of money, and perhaps before it totally bankrupts us, we're going to tie that money to, I don't know, some digital currency. Perhaps we're going to, tie that in with, I don't know, maybe a digital ID that you'll have to sign in with, or else you don't get your $2,000 a month. And then $2,000 will become the brand new zero. That'll be the new zero. And without that $2,000, you can really struggle with that. So maybe you're going to have to take this $2,000 a month. Maybe that's where we're going with this in the end. But it's ridiculous. It really is. And it looks like this is the kind of thing it's just not going to work. It really isn't going to work.
Every Canadian could receive $2,000 monthly.
Wow, it's so quiet.
A proposal that is currently in the Senate, and it could reach the House of Commons as early as next year. This is to fight poverty. Apparently, every single Canadian will get this credit, regardless of your income, if you are 17 years or older.
I got to comment on this, because remember this as an economic rule. Anytime you subsidize something, you get more of it. And anytime you anytime you subsidize something, you'll get more of that thing. And anytime the government gets in charge of making a thing, you end up with surpluses or shortfalls of that thing. Or anytime you tax something, you end up with surpluses, and anytime you subsidize it, you end up with more of it. And what's happening here, they're subsidizing poverty. That's what's happening. It's not a case that they're giving people money and it's going to be helpful. No, they're subsidizing poverty. And at the end of the day, you're going to bring more people into poverty with this whole scheme, this $2,000 a month. That's just going to be inflationary, and it's going to ruin the savings of anybody else that happened to be a part of that in the first place. I'm going to let the rest of this play out, though. Oop, wrong screen.
This is
My bad.
Pretty crazy. I hope that this doesn't fly. We all remember what happened with the CERB, the CERB, the overstimulation during COVID times. We are now paying for all of that, big time. That overstimulation created more harm than any good, to be honest. And I know during COVID times we needed some help, for sure. But in hindsight, now we have to learn the lesson, and this cannot happen. This will be an influx into the economy that will be highly inflationary. We don't need any of that right now. So what do you think? Do you think that every Canadian should get $2,000 monthly to fight poverty? Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, let me know in the chat. It's ridiculous. And if you think that this is just a partisan thing, this is where it gets scary. This is really where it gets scary, because no, it's a bipartisan thing. Here's a clip of Melissa Lantsman. This is an older clip, but this is her saying that this is something that's not only that they're moving towards, this is something that is inevitable, is the way she's framing it.
Well, there's some political parties now saying, Melissa, that they want to have this as a steady thing, the minimum income.
Well, you know what? I actually do somewhat agree with that. And there's a conservative position on this. The universal income benefit, the thing that you're talking about, where you're giving people a living wage, that's going to come. And it could be that by a different name.
Doesn't sound very conservative to me, Melissa.
I actually think conservatives can own this, because you know what it does do? It does take government out of the mix of a bunch of means-tested programs thrown out of Ottawa by a bunch of bureaucrats, and gives everybody that thing that they need to get back to work. And we put that onto people. And we believe in them, and we try to get them out of poverty.
How are future governments going to pay for that?
Well,
because the revenue's in now.
I think that any government that wants to bring this forward is a government that's going to need a mandate from the people, because I don't think the Liberals have the mandate to do that in Ottawa right now. I don't think that any party necessarily has a mandate to spend into the future the way that they've been spending during this pandemic.
Absolutely. So, what's our economy going to be like? What should government be doing to funnel people to the jobs? I mean, we've seen federal government right now, picking and choosing companies, and it's not going well.
No, that's not going well. It never goes well.
Of course.
I think the government needs to invest in actual people, in skills, in making sure that we're ready for whatever the economy looks like. Because we saw that, we closed our doors, and this affected adversely sort of the lowest wage jobs, the precarious labor, and we got to figure out how to get people out of that, trained up into whatever a new economy looks like, a digital economy, a delivery.
Yeah, well, giving them a bunch of money is not going to get them to go to work. You're giving them an out is what you're doing. You're not giving them an incentive to get to work. We all saw that happen with CERB. They're not going to go to work. They're not going to go get trained up. They're going to give every excuse to just sit on that, and that's what. And I'll say that 80%. Because we're going by the 80-20 rule. 80% of the productivity is done by 20% of the population. That other 80%, they're gonna be happy to just go, I'll take $2,000. I'll work under the table, do some other stuff to make ends meet, but I'll just take that $2,000 and walk away with that. No problem. No thanks. I don't need anything else other than that. Give me that, and I'll just take that. Let's get to some of these super chats. Rainmaker with a $5 super chat. Do all the climate activists not believe in the boy who cried wolf? I don't know. Maybe they haven't even heard that story. Isn't that insane? That's absolutely insane. I've lost some of these chats. Hold on. Let me get them back. Here we go. I'm caught up. Today, Rare One Alberta with a $10 super chat. Today, most funding for science comes through the government. That means that you have to be known to be sympathetic to conclusions that are acceptable in the political classes. Now, this is absolutely true. This is a thing that's been well established. And it's funny because what do? You accuse the other side of doing exactly what you want. Every time you talk about skeptical thinking about policies or whatever, these the consensus or whatever they want to call it, they get into this and they say, you're just paid by big oil. Okay, yeah, I'm still waiting for that check to clear. But a lot of academia is dependent on government grants, and you're not going to get your government grants if you don't go along with the narrative. Robert McFallon with a $2 super chat. My favorite econo-journal mechanic. it's just the words getting longer as we go all the time. Okay, I love it. There we go. And I'm just making sure I'm catching up on everything. Just a dildo with the $2 super chat. I will dump my Canadian dollars if they bring in UBI. I think that's what a lot of people are going to do. They'll get out of it. But then what do you do if they make legal tender laws? That's another scary part about this whole scenario, right? And that's another campaign promise by PP. He said no digital currency under his watch. Well, let's see if he keeps that promise. I know I'll be holding his feet to the fire on that one. Utaka with the $2 super chat. In communist Canada, can taxes pay you? That's funnier than it's so true. Actually, that's funny. Yeah, because most people work for the government anymore. That's crazy. And the taxes are what's paying you. Penny D with a $2 super chat. Is UBI voting bait? A lot of people believe that's exactly what that is. Especially for the young people who can't afford a home. If they're offered $2,000 a month instead of just whatever, that might be a voting bait. For sure. Rainmaker with a $20 super chat. More libertarian than conservatives. As Reagan said, 9 most words in the English language from the government, and the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. No, go F yourselves. Let us be free. Oh, I'm having connectivity issues here. Making sure that we're back. I have a guest that's coming in just a second. I'm trying to get through these super chats and then I'll bring him in just a moment here. Just gotta make sure that everything's all set up, ready to go, and that everyththing's clear and good. Okay, we're looking good. Let me just get through these last super chats here on this end. Rare One Alberta, I think it's Alberta, AB, with a $20 super chat. Every time and everywhere, the results have ranged from bad to catastrophic, and it's corrupt. Everybody it's touched, from blacks in the inner cities to Indian tribes on reservations, cementing those groups to the bottom of society. I couldn't agree more. It's insane. What it's done to people. This whole concept of socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it, has really wreaked havoc everywhere it's been tried. But hey, without further ado, I want to get into this. I keep getting distracted here. I have a guest this evening. I want to bring him in. This one's been kind of a little bit in the making, because there's been a few bad connections. We just didn't have, the timing wasn't right, and couldn't get it worked out. But this time we've got it worked out, and tonight I'm happy to introduce to the channel John Weber. Is it Weber? Weiber. Okay, Weiber. I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. From News Updates for Real. Stoked to have you on the channel. It's been, like I said, something we've been had in the works for a little while, and finally made it. And yeah,
I'm pumped. I'm pumped, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we were supposed to do this a couple of weeks ago, and then you know how it gets around Christmas. Family emergencies coming out the yin yang. So appreciate your rescheduling, and man, I'm excited. I was tuning in for the last hour, and Canada's not doing so good, eh? Like how are we looking?
We've had better days.
How are we looking on the world?
We've had better days, my man. It's pretty rough.
You know what's crazy? Like I actually so like any of y'all out there that are going right now, holy shit, that guy's Canadian, because I think it does surprise a lot of people. Because I actually, out the gate, kind of stayed away from Canadian news because I didn't want to get banned. Like, I think about how fucked up that is. Also, I mean, like, American news is definitely, that's having bigger impact on the worldwide thing. I got a lot of American followers, but man, like, I'm Canadian through and through, worked in Parliament, and it's sad to me that I'm scared of my own government censoring me. And sadly, it has happened now on certain platforms, but kind of inevitable. But I mean, like, yeah, I stay away from Canadian news. If I get designated news in Canada, Instagram will not show my shit.
Really?
And that's the world we're living in, right? Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the Trudeau legislation, the pro-journalism legislation they put through. I mean, not that the other side wouldn't do it if it suited their needs, you know what I'm saying? But he did it. And like I have Ground News, great app, Canadian app. I share their link. They're one of the few sponsors I have, independent, journalism. And if you're Canadian, you click the link, no go. You cannot access this page, right? So, yeah, trying to stay away from that, from my own government.
Totally brutal. I guess VPN sponsors will be the all the rage moving forward.
I got to get on. That's right. I got to get on the VPN train.
Yeah, VPNs. I haven't had to use it yet because I want to see what other people are seeing on the internet. I'm not much of a Facebook user. I did start a Facebook page recently, and I haven't had it banned yet. So.
Nice.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, it's only a matter of time, right? I've heard pretty bad things about the Facebook and Meta circuit.
You know what's crazy? I'll tell you this. Since the TikTok legislation came through, and they made the big stink about banning it in Canada and America, it's become the worst app to do news on across the board. Used to be the best one, but Instagram's picked up the slack. I don't know if Zuckerberg's noticed that hole. And he's just being a businessman, but they left up my my story on the fella in New Zealand that leaked all the vaccine info about the bad batches. Some of these batches killed 20.
So that's one of those things that you're not allowed to talk about on this platform, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Forget I said it. But very young is his name. Anyways, yeah, Instagram was the only one that left it up. So I actually give props to Instagram right now. I don't know. It's backwards world, opposite day, whatever you want to call it. But, I have faith that if you just keep putting out information, people will keep listening. But, I mean, we're at the point on TikTok, man, I got 900,000 followers and change, and I'll get 10,000 views on a video. We used to get millions. Oh, yeah. So it's blatant. It's like having your fucking voice clawed out of your mouth, man, for real. And that's, we used to call it, I don't know, freedom of speech or whatever you want to call it, just freedom in general. That shit's gone. And I mean, it'll come back. The pendulum always comes back, and we often go too far. We go one side to the other. We can't just find that sweet spot in the middle, but
yeah,
maybe one day.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying for a lot of people, and people who are familiar with this channel, they know that I'll dance around words and I'll say things in a particular way, try to joke and say things in funny ways.
Yeah.
I won't say the bad guy from World War II's name. I'll call him, Mr. Funny Mustache Man. Everybody kind of knows who you're getting at, and then.
But that's so sad. Think about the history teachers of the old days are cringing right now. They're just say his fucking name. But our society's too I don't know, man. It's not good. It's not good. But here we are. We're still able to have conversations. I do bitch and moan about what's happening. But having said that, I'd be unalived in a lot of other countries.
Absolutely.
Like that one, unalived.
Unalived. Yeah. You get the deletion or whatever.
The deletions, that's good too. Yeah, you got to come up with your own language. I actually got to work on that. There's certain things like Jeffrey Pepstein. You can go all day with this, but it's sad.
Yeah, and there's certain topics that you're not allowed to talk about. So here on YouTube, I got spanked. I got spanked because I reported on there was a judge that forced the release of data from a particular medicine company. And when that released, I reported on it and I talked about what was in it, and the video got taken down. And
that's because you know what? I actually got spanked did you have to go through the YouTube lesson, the module?
Yeah, I did.
On the strike system. And they were like, you may not criticize the V word in any way. That is what it fucking said. I actually screenshotted all of it, so I'm gonna drop a video about it on YouTube.
So
I think. How do you think that one will
when
fit?
I did it, they didn't say that specifically, but they said there's cases where you could say this or that, but you can't say this or that, and it was really
bro, I'm reporting news. You reported the fucking news, and then it's like, no, you can't say it that way.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say it this or that way, and. It felt really weird. Oh yeah, cheers by the way. It's the holidays. We're having hopefully this isn't something we're not allowed to do on the platform, but who cares for now.
It's a root beer. It's just a root beer.
There you go.
Sparks.
There you go. I got a couple of super chats I'm going to get to 1 second. Don Wickenden with a $2 super chat says, cheers, sub now. So he's subbed over on your channel now. Amazing. Thank you so
you,
much
guys.
for that. Rare One Alberta says $50 super chat. Wow. Thank you so much, my man, coming out full swing tonight. UBI has become a meme in recent years, but it's an old idea. Free bread and circus helped collapse ancient Rome. Mao's China and USSR both had UBI. We had idiot servants like Bill Gates saying that it's good and necessary, but it's neither. I can't agree more. I'm fully against the whole concept of universal basic income. It's going to be the collapse of our currency. But, this might be something that, World Economic Forum types want to happen. All right, let's have the big collapse, because then we can have our big reset once that's happened.
Will that UBI apply to the 1%, I wonder? Are they going to take that cut? Or do we all get a huge bump? Like, I mean, if we're doing that proper, it should be across the board. We're all millionaires, right? Technically.
Well,
but it's not. That's not how it'll go.
So apparently
it'll be
it
the
is
slave class. That sounds like a great way to define the new slave class. Here you go. Y'all make the same. Fucking forget about having any trajectory or any incentive to work harder than the guy
there'll be
next to
no
you.
upward mobility. It's just like there's poor people, and then there's people who are happy with it, and people who are not happy with being poor people. Like, that's all you got.
Look, I'm down for UBI if the Sacklers and JP Morgan and all these motherfuckers take that pay cut. I'm down. Let's do it across the board, though. It's not just, but it's just going to be the poor people.
It's just going to be the poor people.
And then meanwhile, here's the 100% inflation at the grocery store. They say 7% inflation, bro. I don't know if you've seen these prices.
Yeah.
It's more like 100%.
Well, so they say 7%, but what they do is they flub the numbers, and no one country has one set of one set of CPI numbers, and CPI is the Consumer Price Index. So they basically take a basket of goods. They call it a basket of goods, and it's products from all across the economy. And then they choose what those goods are, and not one country has the same measure. Like, not one country has the same basket of goods. So there's no way to look at it like, oh, Canada's got this much inflation, America's got that much inflation. No, it doesn't work that way at all.
No.
Because it's like everybody has a different ruler. How do you measure things that are all the same thing?
I just know that, if you were playing the video game Minecraft and you wanted to go rob the grocery store, I totally understand that right now. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But
well, that's sad.
Nah, man. Look, I don't know what else to say at this point. Because it's like, how long are we going to sit back and take it? Like, blatant, corruption. I think they even nailed them recently. But, like, meanwhile, do you see any action taken to punish Loblaws for price gouging the shit out of people while times are tough? Like, it's tough for everyone, and they're just making it harder.
So
where's the accountability?
So they did do a study. There was a study that released about the because they're making these claims that they're making exorbitant profits that they've never made before. And it turns out, if you look year after year, their actual profit margins haven't changed. What has changed was the number of independent grocers that went out of business. So people started shopping more at the big chains, and we're getting to the tune of 430,000 new people every 3 months in this country. So that's a lot of more people buying food.
Wow. Every 3 months?
In the past,
I did not realize.
I'm not kidding. So it's not every 3 months, but the report came out, and this is from CTV. Between July and through September, 430,000 new people came to Canada.
That's wild.
Like, how do you survive that?
Well, I mean, to be fair, we don't pop out enough kids to keep up our own population, but at the same time, it's like, I just didn't realize that mobility. And like, think about, we're having a tough time providing healthcare for the damn people here already. Get ready for the shit show, man, because the population is just getting older. There's less doctors, less nurses. No one wants to become a doctor now in this country, you know, like, so yeah, bring more people in, I guess. I don't, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, so okay. So I've broken this down before. When you have a social security system, social insurance system where retirement is based on people paying in with their contributions, and then you pay in any other case they call it a pyramid scheme, right? You know, you've got people on the bottom paying in, and the people on the top get. That's how it works, right? So if you're lucky enough to live to the age of retirement age, then the people who come in get to pay it off. Now the baby boomers haven't all fully retired yet. And we have an aging population, and we have less people. We're not making as many people. So what they need is more people to be taxpayers.
To pay for the, man, we're running out.
And they won't, they're not honest. They're not honest enough to just say it, right? Where other places like Japan, for example, they've raised the age of retirement.
Oh, they're fucked right now. Their population's having real issues, man. Same with China, to be honest.
Well, not as
marrying sex dolls over there. The men are so damn lonely. They're marrying sex dolls. That's real.
It's a thing. It really is. That is a thing. I'm not kidding. I saw a report about a guy. He had a what was it? It was like a little hologram. It wasn't even a sex doll. It was a hologram.
Living in Blade Runner, man. We're living in Blade Runner for real. Jesus Christ.
And it looked like a coffee maker with a little doll in it. It's hilarious.
That's why it's not a great policy to like make having women illegal. It kind of fucks you down the road. Like you would have thought they thought about that. They didn't do the math.
Oh, yeah, they didn't think that one through. They didn't fully think that one through. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do these policies come to be? I mean, it's crazy. You worked behind the scenes. You were telling me you worked on the Hill, and tell us what you've done. What did you do on the Hill?
Oh my God. I used to go to these receptions 3 nights out of the week. I was in university too. Like, I mean, I know you thought I'm going to dive into like work. What did I do for work? Like honestly, I'm trying to think of the most impactful thing. I was in the room for the Purdue Pharma health committee hearings. My boss was the chair at the time. So I got to see like Terrence Young ask the guy, like the president of Purdue Canada. He's like, so how does it feel killing people every day? And like, so that was a badass moment. That was one of the few moments I saw. Now, mind you, did anything come of that? They admitted to like giving these textbooks out to doctors that, you know, said that Oxycontin was not addictive, which is just a fucking A+ corporate move on their part. Amazing.
That's ridiculous.
But the doctors were getting their bonuses, so they didn't mind. They weren't questioning that. It's like, yeah, I'll prescribe this. You got a little sore back? Here's some fucking heroin. Anyway, so I was in the room for those. That was impactful. There was no change. There was no punishment. I worked on a bill. So I'll say this too. I worked for Conservatives and independent Liberal candidate. Not many people in Canada have done that. You know, we used to, we had this thing called Friday Night Caucus. This was back in the majority days, the Harper days. And we would, you'd be about 50 Conservative staffers. We'd all go out. We kind of start in my office. The offices up there on the Hill are just like mini apartments / drinking spots.
Right.
So you'd have the bottom drawer, right? And it'd be, you know, your empty drawer. So there'd be some liquor bottles in there, some beers. And then every, you know, weekly, the janitors would come around. They'd be like, hey, you got anything for me? You'd give them the empties. And then the janitors on the parliamentary grounds would hold a big Christmas party every year with all the empties that they got from the offices for Parliament Hill. And it was an extravagant party from what I heard, because they made a lot of money on that shit, because there was a lot of empties.
Holy cow.
I don't know if that stuff's happening anymore. But I mean, man, for real, you would go, you know, I'm a 22 years old in piss pants, in the short pants, got the suit on, thinking that I know everything. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to give a young man a suit like that and some power. So, yeah, we would go out and hit up the Lockheed Martin reception or the, Association of Canadian Chiropractors reception, whatever the fuck it was. There was something going on that night. Free booze, free food, get loaded, back to the office. It was quite the life. And I met Trudeau. too. I met Trudeau before he was prime minister.
Oh,
And
really?
I'll tell you, yeah, yeah. It was at a reception, one of these fancy things. It was the first year of Movember, and I had this greasy. And if you remember, Movember wasn't that popular at the start.
No,
Not
it
a lot of people were
wasn't.
doing it.
For people who don't know what
So it was-
Movember is, it's every November people will grow a mustache for men's cancer issues.
Prostate, yeah, specifically, but yeah, men's cancer. It's grown a lot, but that year there were two people with mustaches in the room. There was me with a big, dirty handlebar mustache, and then there was Justin Trudeau, member of Parliament for whatever the fuck, Gatineau or whatever, and he had the greasy Frenchman mustache, of course, and he came up to me, and I was new, I didn't even know who he was, man, but he comes up, puts his arm around me, and he goes, "Sick mo, bro." And those might be the most intelligent words that man's ever said. The most succinct, that man's ever been. And then I chatted with him for a bit, and then he wanted to take a photo, and my boss is like looking at me because I was working for the other side at the time, and he's looking at me going like this, doing the cut. So I rolled out of the picture, and then straight up, like, this is just exactly how it went down. I went up to my boss and I was like, "Why couldn't I get a pic with that guy?" He's like, "Do you not know who that guy was?" I'm like, I just thought he was a gay guy hitting on me." And he goes, and I'm not trying to be rude, like it's just that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And then he's like, that's Trudeau. And that man is now the prime minister. I mean, I'll give him this. He's taller in person. He's taller in person than you think. I will give him that. Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. He's got his height and his good looks. Wow, I think that's everyone's gist of Justin Trudeau. Man, but you know what? You're not telling me anything that I didn't really kind of just have a hunch. You know, my picture of Ottawa is, you have this thing. This site of it, like there's all this formality and they're all that stuff, and that they're actually like gentlemen, gentlewomen, and all this stuff. No, I think they're out on the town. I think debauchery takes place. They're away from home.
Yep,
that kind of thing.
That's the thing too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They're away
guys,
from home.
These guys, they're out in the city for 5 days of the week. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, having said that, I mean, listen, there's a lot of people up there that work hard. Okay, what did you say earlier, the 80-20 thing? That's bang on.
Yeah.
That's bang on. So there's 20% of the people up there that work hard. You try and take it seriously, but, in the end, Pierre is a product of this. The ones that make it are just lifelong staffers. They've never worked anything other than politics. Like Pierre Poilievre's never had another job.
No.
He was a staffer on the Hill. He doesn't know. Like, he is a great orator. Definitely a better option at this point, than Trudeau. Although I think a fucking baked potato would probably do the job. My blind incontinent Nana would be a better situation. But like, Pierre's never had a real job.
No.
I mean,
No.
I'm just saying, and it's that I think that you should not run. I don't think you should run before you're 30, frankly, and I don't think you should run unless you've worked another job, like a real, like what I guess it's kind of tricky to say what's a real job, just a non-government job. You know what I mean? Like a non-government job, and I don't know. I'll tell you this: working for both sides, both exactly the same. This is the root of it. The money all comes from the same place. I live close to the biggest nuclear power plant in the world, and they give money to the NDP. The NDP, they run on shutting down the plant. They still get money from them. Like, these big companies give money to every party. That's why you see no substantial change. You see little things. Maybe they'll legalize weed. Maybe there'll be some social legislation. But Bill C-11. Not the recent one, the Harper one, the Anti-Terrorism Act. It was our Patriot Act. This is going back 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Trudeau ran on appealing that, on abolishing it. Take a look see if that's been abolished.
No, it hasn't.
No, not a chance. Not a chance, right? It's this is the facts. You are told what to say. Your office gets Like, these are your representatives. You're talking about your members of parliament, your ministers. You voted these people in to speak for you, allegedly. They are told what to say by some 22-year-old working in party headquarters every morning. Each topic, you're given a line. If you go off script, you are reprimanded. You're put to the back of the bench. Like, how are you able to represent people if you're not able to speak your mind? That kind of goes back to the start of our convo, right? We're eliminating free thought, free expression across the board. That's actually interesting. They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, they have.
They've been working on this for a long time, my friend. Yeah.
This is why I've been preaching that we need to change the culture, because the politicians are not going to follow, the popular thing in the moment. That'll get them elected, but are they gonna actually go with the plans that they have or that they say they're gonna do? Yeah, they might do one or two things. They might move a little bit in this direction, but unless the culture shifts in a direction, then they're not going to go in that direction. I mean, you're seeing it in other places in the world. I mean, you saw it since the 1960s. Since the 1960s, we've been pushing hard to the left. We've been pushing hard towards, limiting civil liberties, limiting people's access to the economy, more regulation, all of this stuff that's really detrimental to a lot of
bigger
people.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, bigger bureaucracies. Yeah.
I used to stare across at the La Pavilion every day. It's the second largest congregation of bureaucrats in the world. 30,000 of them sitting over there, all French, because you got to be bilingual to work in that department, especially in Ottawa. So 30,000 of them every day. Wouldn't answer the phone at 7:29 if their shift started at 7:30 though, because they're not on the clock. Remember having those combos in the smoker's pit with these guys.
Man.
I'm like, is that more productive? Because then you have to go back and listen to the message. Like, anyways, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I'm just saying.
Fair enough.
It's like if you're there, just answer the phone. Nope. No. They'd say, dragging on their smoke.
Oh man,
No.
it's not about productivity, and that's exactly it. I'm gonna get into some of these super chats here. Rennie K. With a $10 super chat says, I'm going to write my Liberal MP. Tell him UBI will allow me to leave the workforce and stay home to homeschool my kids. That'll make him vote against it.
I actually like that.
That's funny. That's really funny, actually. Just a dildo for the $2 super chat says, just shut up, get in the pod and eat the damn bugs. He's talking about that whole thing. He also leaving another $2 super chat saying Jagmeet needs his UBI for another Rolex. That's for sure.
His UBI, yeah.
Utaka with the $5 super chat says we're living in a Black Mirror episode written and directed by Terry Gilliam.
Oh. Who's Terry Gilliam?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he is, but yeah, I pronounced it right. Usually, I'm dyslexic, so some of these, if it's a typo, I'll just say it wrong. That's the way it is. Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. Downtown Ottawa is filled with government workers and junkies. Sometimes they're the same. I'll sub to Adam Sandler looking guy after the stream. Oh, perfect. Chippy's Outdoors with a $10 super chat. Good evening, everyone. Popped in to say hi. Got to run, though. Happy New Year's all. Thank you so much, Chippy's Outdoors. Go check out the stream afterwards. And yeah, make sure you go subscribe to the Adam Sandler looking guy over here.
I was waiting for it to come.
Oh, do you get that one a lot? I'm going to make sure that the links are in the chat for everybody. I've got the Instagram channel here as well as the YouTube channel. Get your YouTube going up. I noticed you've been doing podcasts lately. You've been putting out a bunch more long form stuff.
We've been grinding, man. It's definitely a learning curve, but we've managed to grab some huge interviews, guys. And I am being suppressed to shit. So literally call to action, all my Canadian peeps. If you could follow the page, huge appreciation. And I mean, we just interviewed Tim Kennedy. Last month we interviewed Robert O'Neill. He's the fellow that put 3 in Osama's head. But we had a very frank discussion. Both those guys. There's 10 episodes and we're going to be going into the new year, hopefully learning some more technical things and improving. But man, you get some quality interviews, I'll tell you that, and you know, your daily dose of satirical news and a little bit of humor there to help the medicine go down.
Well, you gotta have that, man.
You gotta, to deal with these grim fucking times, man. All you can do is laugh sometimes.
That's it.
You know,
I think that's why a lot of people tune into this channel, because I don't know, I have a sense of humor about it, and sometimes you just can't help but laugh. You're like, this isn't, you can't be serious, right? This is really what's happening right now.
It's when I saw Donald Trump and Tucker and Dana White and Kid Rock walk out to American Badass by Kid Rock, I was like, something's gone very wrong in this dimension. Like this, like this is not real. Like, I mean, I actually, you know, guilty pleasure. That's a sick song, American Badass by Kid Rock. It's a Metallica ripoff, obviously, but
yeah,
you know, I'm just saying, like, this is real. Like, this is like, you could, like, in 10 years, 20 years, you know, you could show that to your kid and be like, this was an SNL skit. And they'd be like, oh, that's pretty funny. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
You know? Or you could, what about the guy, I think it was a guy in New York who, after he got poked, he got the free fries, and he's doing the press conference, and he's like, just got my, you know, and I've got these free fries here. Like,
yeah, there's the mayor, mayor of New York City.
Was it Cuomo? Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah, it's
No,
Cuomo.
Cuomo was like, Cuomo was the governor of the state. The mayor.
My bad.
Is it Bloomberg? Mayor Bloomberg?
I don't know. I can't remember what fucking bastard it was, but it's just like, you think about.
He had a burger and fries. He's like, go get your poke, and we'll give you a free burger and fries.
Free burger.
He's munching on them.
And like, think about like what that does, what that says. We were talking about this the other day, me and Tim, and like, that's like
De Blasio, maybe. Somebody put in the chat De Blasio. I think it was him.
I think it was De Blasio. Yeah. It's like, it's so blatantly targeting poor people, right? Because who the fuck was going to care about a free meal except, like, you know, that single mom that's trying to feed her kid that day? It's like, yeah, fuck, all right, I'll get the fries.
Yeah, one meal for
I'll get the fries and burger. It's clearly a blatant attempt to you know, I mean, that shouldn't surprise anyone, but it is what it is when you break it down like that. So yeah, shout out to this dimension. Whatever happened, the CERN thing, the collider. I don't know, man.
Is that what happened? The Hadron Collider put us in a new weird.
I want to go back to the Berenstain Bears day. Okay, back when Bob Barker had only died once. Okay.
Wait, what's this about Bob Barker? He died more than once,
bro. I did a video a few months ago, and I felt it too. And I that was my end punchline one. It was Bob Barker died, and then I do The Price is Wrong, Bob, right? Because I look like fucking Happy Gilmore. Anyways, so everyone in my comments was like, "Yo, bro, I swear to God, he already died." Like, I'm not saying a couple of people. Every fucking comment, and I also remembered it. Some people say he's died 3 times. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a trip. I'll try and find a video.
Is
for
he
you.
still
I'll send you
alive?
the comments, like, no, he's dead.
Oh, okay.
He's dead 3 times. No, he's good and dead. I swear to God, I've reported on it twice.
Did you spay and neuter your dogs? I don't know why that was his thing. He used to always say that at the end of the show.
Spay and neuter your dog. He must have. Did he really?
That was the thing. At the end of his, he say, make sure you spay and neuter your pets, and then that was the end of the show. That was like his political message of the day. You know, like when you get all these celebrities, they got to say their political message, whether they're singing Imagine off key for everybody or whatever they do. Yeah, Bob Barker.
Read the room.
Yeah, Bob Barker's thing was making sure that, you know, we didn't have all these strays running the streets like that.
Bob Barker didn't want them mutts running around the streets.
that was his thing. That was his cause. I mean that's a better cause. That's a better cause than, I don't know, Bill Gates with his keeping the world population down. What?
No, look. You know, listen, Clyde. Okay, it makes sense to release mosquitoes that were designed to fight malaria in a country that has no malaria. Like that's Bill Gates is just trying to help people by doing stuff like that. Like
you know what's
they
insane?
They released these mosquitoes in America and Canada that were meant for Africa. It's like, why? They're supposed to fight malaria. No one here has fucking malaria. So,
well, here's an interesting
I don't
thing, and this is what happens when you go down rabbit holes.
That's not what they're for.
Well, this is what happens when you go down rabbit holes and you start learning about like what's actually for real. Now, I grew up hearing that DDT was a bad thing. Nobody ever said why. Right. They're just like, DDT, it's real toxic. Don't, we got to watch out. Like people used to use DDT back in the day. Well, it turns out it all got demonized by one lady who wrote a book who said that it thins bird eggs in the wild if you use DDT.
Okay.
Now, DDT was this product that they used to keep mosquitoes, like mosquito larva or whatever. It would stop them from reproducing, the malaria carrying ones. And with that product, it almost single-handedly removed malaria from the world. All of North America didn't see a single case of malaria for the longest time. And now, since it's been banned, malaria is actually making a comeback in North America. There's been...
Well, you know who's happy? You know who's happy about that, Clyde? Every pharmaceutical company in the world. They're just like, yeah, we don't want to eliminate diseases. What are you idiots talking about? We want to keep them running.
We want to treat them.
We
want to treat them.
Don't cure them. We don't want to cure that. Nah. Don't be foolish.
That's really awful. It's really awful. Well, it turns out.
I know. I'm laughing, but it's like breaking my heart.
Well, it turns out that the DDT wasn't even doing that to the eggs. It was completely unrelated. And so she was wrong, and and we could still be using it.
No one checked into that. She's just like, yeah, okay. We'll just take this at the word. I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. They don't want to. If it fits their narrative, and both sides will do this, both sides. If it fits their narrative, they don't want to fact check. I mean, think about quick tangent. Think about the Israeli bomb strike on the Gaza hospital that killed 500 people, that caused riots across the world, leading to other deaths. That was not true. That did not happen.
Yeah, it just didn't even happen.
It was a riot. It didn't even happen. Like, it didn't happen. And but they saw it, they jumped on it, they reported it. And I mean, we're living in such, frankly.
Well, here's another story. The one with the car that flew into the Peace Bridge or the Rainbow Bridge.
That was just two old people, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely not an attack.
Well, yeah, everybody ran with this being an attack. I mean, I did a story that day. I was like, I don't think this is an attack. Look at it. It doesn't look like, it looks like a horrible accident. But why would they attack an unoccupied booth over there? You know what I mean?
The timing was sus. I approach everything like this. Like, do you know there's been, I can't even count them, I mean, dozens of substation attacks in America. You can look at all the train derailments. Yes, some of those are definitely just poor infrastructure and, lack of regulations, especially when, the economy's going through a tough time. The first thing corporates cut is health and safety shit, right? So, I mean, some of those check out, but fucking, we're under attack. Like, I frankly believe that, and it's not like a stretch. It's not a conspiracy. Look at pre-war World War II sabotage tactics used. Germany came to America. What did they do? Oh, they attacked substations, oil refineries, trains, and they fucked with the food and water. And you know what? You know what's funny, Clyde? All the governments back then, while it's happening, they downplay it. Want people to panic. They don't want you to think that's what's happening. In 10 years, 20 years from now, we'll know damn well what was happening. But I mean, why the fuck were they? What was it? Two old people trying to get to the casino and they just fucking couldn't bother stopping? Like, I don't know. That just sounds
no. I don't think they were old. There was all kinds of weird reports that it was a Bentley. It turns out that it was some, I think it was a Chrysler car. and the people had saw the Kiss concert like the day before, and they may have been having an argument, or I don't know what happened, but I think that the throttle just got stuck on. Like this happens to vehicles. Like these are
possible.
These are failures that happen. It looked like he tried to avoid the traffic and then boom, hit the barricade, but it launched the car. Like it launched it. It full on went flying. But this is what I'm saying. Like the news immediately goes to like it was an act of terrorism, and no, you have no substantial thing to that. And all these people on social media took that as well. Like, oh, we're getting reports.
I was on it, but at the time, man, I was like, that's definitely a fucking attack. But you know, I'm glad it wasn't actually. I mean, listen. I hate to sound like that guy, but it's tough. I still I'm like 80-20 now. I'm 80-20. You bumped me up from like 50-50, but I don't know. It's just so hard to trust anything.
Yeah.
Like when they switch. When you watch them switch the narrative, I always go, like, did they get it wrong, or were they told that they got to switch that narrative up? I don't know. And it's sad that that's the world we're living in. Like but that's why guys like you and me have been able to carve out, a spot, because people are desperate for like just an unbiased take, a nuanced take on what the fuck's going on, but willing to have a conversation and be like, oh yeah, I got that wrong. Shit, got that wrong. You know, it'd be nice to hear that, like genuinely from, you know, a politician or a news company or, you know, a corporation, whatever.
That's what I make sure to do. If I get something wrong, I'll make a whole video about it. I mean, it's an excuse to make a video too. I mean, I just like enjoy making videos, right?
Content, baby, content.
For sure.
Let's go.
But yeah, I'll put up a video and say I was wrong. I got that wrong. It's not true. Let's set the record straight.
It's inevitable when you are literally trying to delve through. You got lies from this side and lies from that side, and you're trying to piece it all together to make some sort of coherent narrative, right? That's the sad state of it. So, I mean, frankly, you'll get shit wrong again, because how can you not? How can you not in today's climate? Like, real journalism don't exist anymore. Unbiased takes, that's gone.
No, and I have clearly a bias in this, and it's not towards the conservatives. I mean, the conservatives at the moment, they're the thing that's going to get Trudeau out, and that's a thing. But here's the thing I'm worried about. So yeah, the conservatives get in. What do the liberals like to do? They like to take heart-wrenching things that people are thinking towards, like the socialist thing. Well, just, you know, let's take care of the poor, and we'll do that by limiting people's freedoms and all these things, right?
Ironic. Or let's exploit this dead Syrian child in the middle of an election and pretend we care. I mean, you know, it worked.
Right. But what do we get from conservatives that are the same thing? So we might get a situation where it's like
crack down on weed smokers and shit, which I don't dig.
Or crack down on pornography on the internet. So this is a recent thing that's happening, and they're voting for it. They're voting to make it so you have to log in using ID now on the internet. And a lot of people are like, whoa, hold on a second. What? Where does this go? So like there's ways that the conservatives can push towards limiting people's freedoms, and there's ways that liberals will push towards that. So I think this is where I come in. I go, wait a second, I'm very liberty oriented, and I want to have my privacy and and all these things. I don't want to submit something to a government official that I was doing this on the internet.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Fucking watching anyways, but now they really want it. They want to have it in like crystal clear, stamped on your fucking name. I mean, yeah, privacy, you know, it's funny. We used to call privacy something else. We used to call it freedom. It used to be freedom. People used to say, you can never take my freedom. And now they're like, you know, you talk to the average person and they're like, I don't care. It's like, I don't care if they're watching. It's like, you fucking should. You should. You're entitled to that. You are not. They have every Google you've ever searched, every text message you've ever sent is sitting on some database, whether it's at the NSA or CSIS, wherever it is. It's on both. Look up the 5 eyes. I mean, I bet you know what the 5 eyes are, Clyde.
No?
No? Okay, check this out. This is not a conspiracy. This is an acknowledged agreement. It's a Wikipedia. You can Wikipedia this. Australia, the United States, the UK, Canada, I think New Zealand. I might have that last one wrong. 5 countries. It's illegal to spy on your own citizens, right? This has been in place for years, decades. It's illegal to spy on your own citizens, but it's not illegal for y'all to like spy on each other's and then trade the info. And that's what these motherfuckers been doing for 20 years, dog. Like, maybe that's something that our politicians should talk about, or, they should teach in school.
I never heard of
kidding.
that. I've never heard. Now I've got something to look up. Yeah, the 5 eyes.
Check that out. 5 eyes, baby, keeping us safe.
I'm actually typing that in right now.
Yeah, man. No, it's I love being able to share that shit, because this is the stuff we're not talking about. I just made a video about the top news stories of the year, and it's like, you won't hear about this shit. JP Morgan settling $300 million with Epstein victims. That was my number one. That's not talked about. That should be fucking front and center.
And didn't you just do a report that a judge is going to be releasing the list?
Yeah, we got names. We got 150 names coming in hot in January. I hope the judge doesn't unalive himself with 5 shots to the back of the head or something. But he's a badass. So it's a clear case of 5 shots to the back of the head.
Oh man, because if that list gets out, that's pretty damaging for a lot of people.
It's just 150. So we'll see. They've promised. The FBI just released a cache of files. I went through them. They were all redacted. Like, you're literally looking at it. Like, it should be illegal for them to say they're releasing documents if it's all redacted. That's a piece of legislation I'd like to see. You're not allowed to put the black. If it's released, it's fucking released. Like, I'm looking at a page and it's fully blacked out. It had like each document had each cache had like a cover page. It had all the stuff that had been redacted, and the cover page was longer than the documents every time. So like, it was just like everything got redacted.
Well, the RCMP they did something skeevy like that recently. I'm still watching for it to resolve, but there was a Freedom of Information request by Democracy Watch. It's an independent
I know
journalist.
Democracy Watch. Yeah, they're great.
So they wanted to look into the situation with the SNC Lavalin, because the RCMP, they said that they investigated it. So they put out a FOIA request saying,
investigative.
Yeah, we'd like to see that, because there's a 96-page document. We want to see it. And so they said, oh, no, this is still under investigation. So they went, oh, okay. And they published that the RCMP said that it was still under investigation. And then that created a huge buzz. But then the RCMP said, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
And it turns out they only told them that because they didn't want to release it.
We're not looking into that at all.
We're
not looking into that at all.
But that was the excuse that they had to redact, or to blank out 86 pages of the 96-page document. So you get to see like the legend that just gives definitions of terms, and then that's it. You don't get to see any of the stuff. And they've just left it at that, and they're like, but what our FOIA request? Come on, give it up. And I'm still waiting to see if anything happens out of it.
It's a straight up farce. Little dog and pony show.
It really is. It really is bread and circus, where we just get we get our sensational headlines, but we don't get any real thing out of it. And Canada's been going through this for too much these days. We've had the Emergencies Act. Well, they had the Paul Rouleau.
Yeah.
He handpicked judge to help out Justin Trudeau out of the thing that he did. Just like his daddy, declaring a state of emergency against a bunch of truckers that came to Ottawa, saying you don't have any right to lock us in our homes.
Yeah, freezing their bank accounts. That's the thing that kills me. Like, that's no other country in the world's ever done. Like, except like Iran and shit. Like, or like China, Russia. It's not a good precedent.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And here we are now, and Canadians are like, what the hell does that mean for all of us? Like, in the end, we have a record.
It means you better toe the line. You better watch yourself.
Well, and this is a problem in Canada. We have a record number of people leaving the country. I'm talking about record number of Canadians leaving as they're bringing in all these immigrants. So like the net number is still going up, but it's like the great brain drain of the modern century. We have all the people who are liberty minded leaving. What does that mean for the future of Canada?
What does that mean for like people that started liberalism? They're like, what the fuck has happened? You pansies are going, yes, master. Yes, listen to the government. Liberalism was founded on this shit. Y'all are like liberal. That's what bugs me, man. It's like y'all started freedom of speech. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The proverbial y'all. But it's just like funny how it's inverted. It's imploded on itself. And now it's like conservatives questioning the system, which, let's be honest, is also not how it was, 20 years ago. But that's what I'm saying. It makes no sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. 1984, listen, George Orwell wrote 1984 as a warning, and we went ahead and used it as a fucking blueprint on how to fucking build a society. Straight up. And so, it's doublethink. It's convincing yourself that this is the way it is and it's always been. And it just makes no fucking sense. It just makes no sense, Clyde.
Well, one thing that's really reassuring for me is to see places like Argentina with, is how you pronounce his name? Xavier Milei. He's the new
that guy.
Yeah. He went in and he's actually doing some stuff there. It's crazy. He's actually making some changes. I think I've got a list of the things that he's done since he got in. I'll just pop this up real quick. We've got right out of the bat, 18 days in, he gets in. And in the 18 days that he's been in, he's eliminated 12 out of 21 cabinet posts. He's fired 5,000 government employees, ended 318,000 government regulations, banned woke language in the military, bill to affirm the right to self-defense, a bill to legalize homeschooling of children, proposal to punish all riot organizers, future welfare cuts for road blocking. That's awesome, actually. Legalize paying contracts in Bitcoin, privatization of state-run companies, opened up Argentina's oil industry. He did all that in 18 days. All that in 18 days. Oh, you've gone mute. You've gone mute. But yeah, he's done all of this in 18 days, which is amazing, which makes me believe that there's hope out there for liberty. What they still call liberalism. No, we're still muted. I think as the earbuds came out, we'll be right back with John here in a second. But yeah, going back to this. Until John's back, hopefully it comes back quick. Oh, there we go.
Should be good to go.
Yeah, good to go now. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a lot accomplished in 18 days.
No, they pulled out of BRICS today. They've just pulled out of BRICS. So he just did that today. Yeah.
I mean, maybe all those Canadians will be moving to Argentina.
Man, I've had like followers comment and say they moved to like some rural town in Texas. So they could afford to like raise their child, and they're like, "Yeah, we love it down here." But it's sad, like Canadians are leaving. They are leaving right now, and we should be ashamed of that.
We should.
I'm ashamed of this fucking country, frankly. But having said that, I think it's inevitable we were headed this way. Like, I'm not trying to say like I got no faith. Like just so we don't get it twisted. With everyone new here and much love, but like I got no faith in either party. I think the entire system is broken. Vote independent, dog. Vote for someone who can say what they actually fucking think. Vote for someone that actually, stands up for what you might care about, not what the party headquarters is telling them to care about. By the way, I cannot stress this enough. The party headquarters are filled with 20-year-olds. These are 20-year-old kids, little fucking know-it-alls, telling a 60-year-old pensioner how to live or how to think. There's something wrong there. I don't know. I'm not down with it. I'm not down with it.
Yeah, it's
not
insane.
At all, but
Well, it's insane, yeah. Because my personal opinion on the whole thing is that these little 20-year-olds that are running around, they're the ones telling the politicians, oh, this is the message you should be saying. Like these are the things you should be telling people. This is what people care about, and they're just looking at social media and they're going, oh, this is what's trending in my feed. Oh, let's just go with that, right?
Sure. Well, it's like, shouldn't any member of parliament be like, their first thought should be like, well, shouldn't I be saying what my constituents want me to say? Like, isn't that what I should be saying? I thought that was how this was supposed to work.
Yeah,
no.
That's how it's supposed to work.
That's a good story. It's a great idea. Definitely a cool idea. I don't know if it's ever been that way. Maybe 100 years ago. You know, I'll tell you this. Like, listen, this is a perfect segue into it, Clyde. I got two things I want to talk about. One is literally we're going to break some news here tonight. But firstly, let's go into. So we're talking about both sides are the same, right? So Ben Lobb, actually one of my former bosses, member of parliament for Huron Bruce. Shout out Benny boy, love you. So Ben put forward this bill that was going to remove the carbon tax from all farmers in Canada. It passed the House of Commons, right? It passed, made it through. It just lost in the Senate by one vote, and it was two Conservative senators who failed to make the vote. Whether the one was like down south golfing or something, or whether, they were, offered a role maybe by the Liberals to not show up. But I mean, that just happened, and that's just more proof that
it's disgusting.
If they don't want, if it's not intended to change, it's not going to change. That's it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what side you're on. They don't want. It's like, okay. So that just happened. So I mean, that kind of gives. By the way, I will just say I thought the Liberal senators weren't supposed to be Liberal anymore. Wasn't that a thing? Weren't they supposed to be all independent? Wasn't that like the whole thing Trudeau did like 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
Anyways.
What he did was he put them all in his back pocket. That's what he did.
Yeah, he did. And he's got a couple of Conservatives in there too, by the sounds of it.
Well, yeah, because from my reporting earlier this year, there's a couple that have more allegiances to China than they do to even the Conservative Party.
We got Chinese police stations in Toronto and Vancouver, bro. Like this is real life.
Yeah, this
is
not good. This is insane. And you tell people that and they're like, oh, whatever, and then you have to actually spell it out, like, okay, here's the actual thing, here's the RCMP responding to it, here's here's a write-up from a reputable source, whatever, and it's a funny part about online, you have to have multiple sources, because if even though it's a reputable source, you'll get somebody say like, yeah, well, that's a biased one, they go this way, they lean this way. So I'll try to get all my sources like leaning on both sides of the thing. So like here's the truth, here are the facts, and here's what they're omitting, and here's what they're omitting, and here's the picture and the story that I see here.
You know what's sad is sometimes like comments on Reddit are the best way to verify a story. Go through and see. Like, I know that sounds fucking insane, but you get like locals saying, no, like I was here, yada yada. I mean, that's the sad reality of the landscape, the news landscape now.
Well, I think the best example of this was the Freedom Convoy. So when the Freedom Convoy was happening, like I started making contact with people who were truck drivers because I'm a mechanic. I pay attention to this stuff. And then I'm watching people's live streams and I'm reporting on what's happening live, and it was completely incongruent with what the media was saying. And so I was showing, this is what the media is telling you, and this is what's actually happening. Here's video footage of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so fucking pathetic how they always try and take it to like, these guys are the supporters of the dude with the mini mustache. You know what I'm saying? Or like, and then like you hear stories of the guy with that flag, and he was apparently some sort of CBC journalist or former CTV journalist. You know, I don't know if that got ever verified, but these are the stories you hear offline, and you're like, yeah. Like I asked my friends, I got a lot of friends in Ottawa still, and I asked them, like, is there a bunch of funny mustache supporters, funny mustache guy supporters out there?
None.
And they'd be like, no, like I haven't seen a single one.
Well, unless you count like Chrystia Freeland or something like that. Like,
oh, she is such an evil woman. Just looks It looks like the fucking wicked witch from the West, man, for real. And I'm not trying to be.
She's a little twitchier though. I think she's on the same. I think she's on the same meds that Funny Mustache Man were on.
Holy shit! Yeah, God love government. I love the government. For the record, guys, listen, CRTC. If you're watching right now, if you're watching me and Clyde, we love the government here. Pump this. Put this in the algorithm. Okay. Big time fans.
Wow. Yeah. One day that'll matter. One day you'll have to have that allegiance test. Holy cow.
Try and sprinkle in a little, I like to say every once in a while, I'm like, all hail the almighty algorithm, he who giveth, he who taketh away. I love you, my AI overlord. Please don't, go easy on me when you take over. That's all I'm asking. We're moving to that. I think there was a Tesla robot just attacked an engineer there last week. There was that Korean robot that folded the guy up like a cardboard box about a month ago. She's gone.
You're joking. No, you're joking. Did that really happen?
Yeah. Yes. And they're trying to give drones the autonomy to kill humans.
Yeah, that's a big mistake, I think.
Let's go. Fucking not. It's not like every sci-fi movie ever written tried to warn us about this shit. But yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Wow. I don't even know what to think about that, because I think there's no stopping it now.
Oh, I mean,
the cat's out of the bag, really.
If it's been allowed, I think it's like that terrible movie with fucking Johnny Depp.
Oh, that was bad. That was a bad movie.
He goes into the computer.
Yeah, the singularity.
That's it.
I mean, the concept of it sounded good, but the movie was bad execution.
Hey, man, if I indulge in some of the Earth's lettuce, that movie can be definitely watchable. It's a good time. But anyways, like, if it's got access to the internet, which it clearly does, then it's already game over. Like, that's it. It's already got infinite. Like, it can just keep growing now. It's never going to stop. I mean, WEF, the bug ranchers there, they actually predict that 40% of jobs will be replaced by AI in 5 years. That just came out.
So it's an interesting thing, because the jobs that people weren't really anticipating being replaced are the ones being replaced. It's people, because they all thought, oh, if you're a factory worker, or if you're a mechanic or something like that, you're going to have your job replaced. But AI moved towards language models, and it moved towards replacing people who do coding. that's a big thing. And a lot of people moved into coding thinking, oh, I'm going to be smarter, I'm going to work hard, smarter, not harder, right? The old saying.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be out of a job. Whoops.
I guess they shouldn't have coded the AI. Fucking idiots.
Well, talk about teaching your replacement how to do your own job. Like, that's funny that's how it worked out. But that being said, right? So that being said, every time there's been a big industrial thing that ends up replacing a lot of people, you have these doomsayers that say, well, this is going to be the end. We're going to have all these useless eaters. There's going to be nothing for them to do. We've heard this many times before. The Industrial Revolution. We heard this during the Agrarian Revolution when they mechanized farms. Like 80% of the population used to work in farms. Now it's like 4%. Those people found other things to do. New economies came about, and there's other stuff.
Like going and working for the government.
That's useless. That's absolutely useless. Oh, that's funny though. Yeah, that's where a lot of people are trying to gravitate, because there's so much cheese to be handed out. But at the end of the day, it doesn't create anything. The government, at a certain point, if it grows large enough, it becomes this. It becomes a parasitical host, or a parasitic thing on the host, that it ends up killing the host, right? So we're trying to avoid that. We're trying to
everything's slower. Like everything. It's not, the bigger the bureaucracy, you would think it was supposed to get more efficient. No, it gets fucking less efficient the bigger it gets.
Yeah.
I was a refugee at one point. It took over a year to get my passport. I looked it up by international law. If your country doesn't give you a passport within a year, you're technically a refugee. So I was a refugee because
funny.
it took them a year and a half to give me my fucking passport.
That's funny.
That's pathetic.
But that's a lot of people went through that. My son went through that. His first passport, we couldn't get it.
Brutal. Meanwhile, it's like, the old motherfuckers have been sitting at home for the last 2 years. Like, you can't. How did you let it get so backed up? Because they weren't doing fuck all.
When as soon as it came to the point where they would, especially those departments, would have to go back to work and start doing stuff, they went on strike. And some of their demands were just unbelievable. They wanted to be able to, only have to go to the office for like, I think it was like 6 or 8 hours a week, that kind of thing.
Nice.
They wanted to be able to just, basically it was a strike so that they can continue to work in their jammies.
Look, man, I am like, I'm not, I will say this, like, how do I put this delicately, Clyde? Like, I'm kind of a fuck the man kind of guy. I do think corporations take advantage of their workers. But like, having said that, it's just I just saw it. It's just, you can't deny productivity does not go up when you work from home. Like, it just doesn't.
Oh.
It just doesn't. I'm not saying I'm again. Like, fuck, if you can figure out a way to make that work individually and that's good for you and your family, bro, go for it. Fuck the system, for real. But like, I'm just saying, it's not more productive. Like, you're just not going to be as productive. Like,
so I do think that if you work from home on a business that's your own, you might be more productive. But I think
that's a different thing, though, right?
I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Because I've been way more productive with this channel, and I'm working from home. But it's just like anything else. If they're like, hey, get to your. I remember doing this like correspondence for like high school stuff. You break a limb or something. You're like, I'm not going in. I'll just do the correspondence thing. You never get around to it.
Yeah. I jammed that in the final week after not doing anything for the whole year.
Yeah.
Fucking pull off a solid C+, B-, baby. We're off to the races.
But it's so true though. Yeah, no, there's no incentive. But that's the thing. That's what these workers want, and that's why I don't know. My opinion is that most people get into government work because they don't want to actually work because they know they'll.
Well, the benefits are great. They got that full dental, full all good, full eye care, beautiful. I mean. Go get it on an individual basis. Like, I mean that. If you can figure out a way to cheat the system, my friends, go do it. I mean, in Minecraft, allegedly, right? But I try and pretend that's going to save me when the fucking CSIS guy shows up at the door. He's like, you've been telling people not to pay their taxes? I'll be like, well, no, it's in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah, don't pay your taxes in Minecraft. In real life, yeah, do that for sure.
Yeah. This guy gets Here, listen. I actually, I'm gonna pounce on this, Clyde, because this is something I talked to you beforehand. And it kind of, it's a good segue because it may be a reason to like say something so outlandish. It's like, how could you say that? Like, that's crazy. You want the government to topple? Don't you think the government has your best interests at heart, Clyde? Don't you think the government cares about you in some way, Clyde?
Oh, not for 1 second. Not for 1 second.
Well, imagine, say for instance, imagine you signed up to fight in Afghanistan, a Canadian vet, Canadian soldier, and you go over. And whether it was the black mold growing on your residence over there that you were instructed to just like chisel off, like, which is the worst thing you can do, by the way, with black mold. So anyone listening, please don't do that. Or maybe it was the radiation coming off the radar tech that you were around all day, but you came home with not only a nice batch of PTSD, but a fresh dose of cancer as well. You and 5 other soldiers. Now this happened. I mean, I think it was about 5-6 years ago. They got back. All 5 of them had cancer. 2 are dead now. 1 is still battling, and then the other 2 have managed to overcome it. Imagine you sacrificed all that for your country, for your government, right? You come back, they see what's happened to you, and they go, okay, here's $100K. Don't say a fucking thing about it. And if anyone asks you, have PTSD.
I mean, like hypothetically, you know, if that was something that had happened, that'd be a reason to maybe not pay your taxes in Minecraft. I don't know. I don't know. It might piss you off a little bit, especially being the soldier that's, you know, that's the thanks they got. That's the thanks they got from our government. And I mean, has the media touched on this at all? Has it even been reported? No, fuck no. So this is actually probably the first that Canada's heard about this, and there's going to be a lot more coming. I was going to send you some documents. I just didn't have time to. I had to make sure I'm covering, providing an anonymity. So I have to. Oh God, you know what I'm about to say? I have to redact some shit. Oh my God, I've become.
You become the thing that you hate the most.
That's amazing. But I do have to make sure we're putting out the proper documents. So that'll be coming down the pipe. I'll make sure I give you a heads up on it, Clyde, when I drop the video. But yeah, basically, you got 5 Canadian veterans with cancer, 2 dead, 3 living with the case. The fact that, you know, that's the thanks they got from our government. And this transcends. This is a perfect thing because it goes back to what I'm saying. This happened, I believe, it would have been probably right at the turn from the Harper to Liberals, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Either side would have done that to him. Either side. Both sides did do that to them. Both sides did do that to them. James Bazan, shout out James Bazan. Check this out. James Bazan is a pretty high up conservative guy. You're probably sure you know him. Anyways, he actually, I'm trying to remember, he might have retired. Anyways, James, I'll always remember the day that there was a fella from Prince George whose son died in military training, and basically he like had a heat stroke and he was kind of overweight, but they were pushing him. And it was just it was just one of those tragic things. But definitely there was some. It wasn't the fact they were pushing him. It was like the ambulance took like an hour to get there. It was all fucked up. Everything was fucked up. The whole case. His family was just asking for an apology. And just because it was Bazan who was the defense, he was the mini defense minister at the time when it happened. And I remember I went up to him. I was like, man, can we, you know, do you think you could, you know, maybe acknowledge this or not? And he goes, nah, that was that kid's fault. That's what he fucking said. So it's just like, yeah, shout out James. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And it doesn't matter what party it is. I'm telling you. And if it doesn't suit them, like he would be the first to attack. Like if he was not the mini minister at the time, it would have been, this family deserves justice, yada, yada, yada. But it's,
right.
Oh, because I was there? It's like, no. That wasn't a, what he actually said, that wasn't a federal issue. I was like, it happened on a fucking army training camp.
Yeah, that's a federal thing, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's not a federal issue. Anyways. Sad state of affairs, my friend. And frankly, our vets, I mean, sad to say, but that's the way it's always been. They come back.
I'm hoping that as you get more information on this, perhaps I could, because you're the one with all the information and these guys can't come forward directly. So perhaps I could bring you back on the show and do a segment talking about it, specifically this. Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, he sent me a lot. He sent me a lot more than I thought he was going to, actually, which is great. But I got some homework to do.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be sure. But I did talk to him tonight. I was like, are you okay with me just bringing it up? He's like, yes, please. Because he's fucking pissed. He's fucking pissed.
and deservedly so, absolutely.
I think it's a scary thing. And like God, I thank God he's been able to overcome it. It was he had lung cancer. Right. And actually, yeah, like that's, if we have fucking radar tech out there that's giving people cancer, like, I mean, and this is not outlandish, actually, in the States.
No, it's not.
This just came out a couple months ago in the States, down in, I can't remember, down in, I want to say Missouri, but anyways, southern state. Over 150, I believe, soldiers got fucking cancer from chilling in the missile silos down by the missiles, like from the same base. So this is sadly a thing. You got soldiers being asked to go stand beside shit that they don't even realize is emitting radiation, or they do realize it and they're telling them to do it anyways. I don't know which one's worse, Clyde, but you know, take your pick.
Yeah.
Two bad options.
Yeah, those are two. Well, they should know what's happening in their facilities, and then they should also, if there's a danger, they shouldn't be putting our people in way of danger.
This is why I say to the FBI agent watching right now, I call him Gary. Look, man, you're not going to be treated properly by the government. They're going to fuck you. Come over to our side. We actually give a shit. Like, the people will actually care. Like, I'm just saying. The government, Gary, will fuck you. I promise. I'm just saying. So when that day comes, you come on over to our side.
Yeah, spill the beans. We'll take care of you. Let us know how all of it works. Fill us in about all of this. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more on that story. Let me get into.
Yeah, you'll be seeing it, and I'll actually, Clyde, I'll send you some of the stuff as I get through it. But like I said, I just gotta respect. There's so much with it, right? I don't want the fella to get in trouble.
Well, you don't want to accidentally out the guy and give information.
Well, the thing is, I think he's okay with that, but I want to make sure he hasn't been told that he can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure he doesn't get himself in trouble. I don't give a fuck about me. Let's go. Let him come.
Fair enough.
It's like if they want to try and come at me for releasing info about something egregious that our government's tried to sweep under the rug, then bring it on, baby. Let's go.
Bring it on. Let me get to a couple of these super chats here. We've got from Gary Krell, a $10 super chat, looking to invest in diesel electric company from BC that you spoke of. Cannot remember the name. It's Edison Motors. Go check them out. In the new year, I'm gonna have Chase on the show. He's the CEO of Edison Motors, Chase Barber. So hopefully, get your name out there. They've got a website. Maybe you can get in contact with them, see how to invest. I don't know if they're taking investments, but I know they have like crowdfunding operation stuff going on. Utaka for $2 says, Freeland, the twitched witch of the WEF. That's absolutely true right there. Thanks for the super chat. Margarita Cardoso with a $5 super chat. I work from home, and it actually works better for me than working in the office. I save hundreds of dollars in paying for the commute and commute time. Nice. Yeah, so for some people it does work out, but I know that a lot of people, the productivity goes way down. So if productivity doesn't change when people are in their homes, or productivity even goes up for some people, I could see that being a thing. So it's a good argument for trying it out. But for other people, it might be a case-by-case sort of thing here. Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. To everyone who can afford to leave, don't you think that's what they want? What if we already have an early election? We need you. Absentee voting for sure. I know a lot of people have left, and everybody who has left, absentee vote for sure. Get in there, make sure you're casting your vote in the next election. But we'll see where that gets us. I don't know. I'm very torn on the issue. Like, is Canada, can we bring it back? I hope we can. This has been my motivation, is to foster the environment for a change in our culture, to want to be more self-determining instead of just relying on government to take care of us. But there still is that culture of people who want to just be baby fed their whole lives, and they're shipping in people that are happy to do that too. So we'll see where we end up in Canada with all of that. But things like what's happening in Argentina,
we're gonna end up in Argentina, Clyde. We're all gonna end up in Argentina.
We're gonna have to learn how to speak Spanish. I already know 2 languages. I don't know about the third one. That might be tough. That's a thing. That's definitely a thing. But yeah, I definitely want to thank you, John, for joining me tonight. Everyone, make sure you get over, check it out, of course, on Instagram, but get over onto the YouTube channel, because we got to get more people watching the long form content. Conversations like this is great. If you ever need a guest and you want to have me come on the show, I'd love to join in.
Let's set that up.
Yeah.
All right, New Year.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll make that happen. So make sure you're subscribed over there. You'll come see me over there. You come see other people. Some really great guests coming in, and great conversations happening, as well as your daily dose of quick snappy. Here's the news. I love your format, the way you do things. So it's a great way of bringing stuff forward. Stick around, John. I'll keep having a chat after the live stream's done. But I'm just gonna close this one out here. So everybody out there, Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in for this last final live stream of the year. I'll be back in full capacity as of January 2nd. I'm going to be probably hungover from the festivities on the 1st. So that's going to be a thing. I'll see you guys all on the 2nd. Big Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everybody out there. Thanks everybody for helping with the growth of the channel over this past year. It's been amazing. The greatest community on the internet here, and this channel and several others around Canada and around the world. People are getting more and more interested in this idea of liberty and pushing forward and changing the direction that we've been moving in. So big thanks. And again, one more big thanks to John for coming in. Make sure you get over there, hit that link, get subscribed, and of course, we'll see you all in the next one. Keep on trucking, everybody.